mean, we are last minute tech, but we are ready to go. I realized it was very last minute. I had to set this up so that it looked good and that I could have my players listed up as, being here. So we are live and ready to go. Okay, so let's keep this open. I'm going to have to close Lord Zumba's stream out because, and then close this out. Okay, so I got a message from Neil saying he can't make it, so we have the three of you. We have Almi, we have Phoenix, and we're going to do Greta Got Played because we need muscle. And yes. So we begin in Hardby. It is late 2080. Set after slaver modules because you were actually involved with the slavers. Greta was actually involved with the slavers, but has been mostly reformed. Has joined up the Despotrixes with the Despotrix as a part of her retinue, sort of working for her as extra muscle and generally trying to make right with having been a slaver. Phoenix Norbellos is which I probably should have told you ahead of time, the heir to the throne, essentially. And basically the heir apparent. The Spotrix has one granddaughter, but she's very young, so she's kind of put Phoenix in that position in case she dies suddenly and they need somebody to take over. So it's a lot of pressure, but Almi is a young priestess. Let me bring up Osprey, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to bring up the quick notes, and I'm going to bring up the notes on the setting. Yes, so, and that has all of your character sheets on it. Yeah, Zula's human. Oh, yes, Osprey is Zula's goddess. So, and you've just come up for RX Landing into the big city of Hardby. It's a lot. It's huge, and I mean, not huge, but compared to the town, RX Landing, it is very big. And recently, as of Greyhawk Con last year, but only a day or two for this, Greta and Phoenix came back, having foiled a plot by Greyhawk to essentially kind of take control, show that Hardby is weak and cannot protect its own interests by staging an attack in one ford. You managed to rally the local militia in time and prevent the attack from happening, fighting alongside the mercenaries rather than, and generally proving that, yes, we can rally an army as needed to protect our town from orcs. And thus, the Despotrix is very pleased. Before you left, though, you spoke to a young man, my notes, named Theron, who's actually courting Phoenix. He is sweet, and he is a suitor, and he actually said that the Despotrix's oldest son, Travis, because she has only sons, is involved with someone who is questionable and who wears a pin of the Scarlet Brotherhood. So, that's concerning. But that was before you left for Wenford. You've been back a few days, and you've been in the city a few days, and you guys all get a summons from the Despotrix. So, the leader of the Free City wants to see you all.
Very well.
Okay. So, the three of you, you make your way, and you all end up outside the audience room for the Despotrix herself. It's got a chair, not exactly a throne, but mounted up a little bit so you can kind of come in and everyone stands in front of it and kind of to speak with her. A formal audience. Phoenix, you've been in here a few times. Greta, you've been once or twice. It's, a formal setting. And she says, welcome. Please. I need your help. Almi, I believe is your name?
That's correct.
Excellent. Welcome. I had heard of you, and I think what we need is someone to balance out Greta, and also someone who can heal. Hopefully, I'm very much hoping that nothing bad happens, but there have been troubling rumors, and I think they need to be investigated. And I've been informed by one of my younger sons that there may be involvement of Scarlet Brotherhood. So, he has invited you all to a dinner party, allegedly at my behest. You are going to go and figure out what the deal with the Scarlet Brotherhood is. Listen to the conversation, generally present yourself. Greta, I know this isn't your forte, but if things go sideways, we need some backup. And you've proven well at one Ford that you can negotiate diplomatically. So, and I wish to say about Greta Gotplate is she's a half ogre and is 8'10", terribly imposing. Not exactly who you'd expect to go to a dinner party, but she's loyal to the spot tricks.
What do I use?
I am sure you're going to do fine. Do you have any questions for me? I know, Almi, this is the first time for you.
Yes, well, tell me a little bit more about this connection or this conspiracy with the Scarlet Brotherhood. I've heard terrible things about them, and
yes, as have I, which is why I need somebody to investigate. I believe my oldest son, Travis. I'm assuming you all have heard of the gig.
No, tell me.
Oh, he was despot of Hardby. I want to say 540-ish. Many years ago. And yes. And yes. 339. He was first created as Despot of Hardby, and he took over and was generally a fair ruler, but the city of Hardby was founded as a gynarchy, and he was the only male ruler to have ever ruled in the entire history of our city. And my son, I have no daughters, as you know. The closest I have is a niece who's since deceased, and her daughter, Phoenix, kind of gestured to you. And that's why I've put you as the one to take over should I die. Travis, he wants political power. And I understand that to an extent, but the gynarchy must be preserved, and therefore I've chosen you as heir apparent, and you've done a wonderful job of that. However,
Thank you.
It seems to me that Travis is using the Scarlet Brotherhood as involved in some sort of power play, wherein he can take control of the city. He's always involved in something like that. I've been trying. I dearly love him, but sometimes. Corbin has expressed worry that his lover is somehow connected. I have met her briefly. She seems nice enough. Former slave, actually. But after everything fell through, she managed to find her way here and her freedom here. And in any case, that is our connection to the Scarlet Brotherhood, and given everything I've heard about their dangers, I would like you to investigate the ties, generally keep an eye on things, figure out if Corbin is right, and if so, coordinate on what to do about it. The dinner party is tomorrow night, and I expect you all to be there. And presentable. Wear something nice.
To what extent can we carry this investigation?
To whatever extent necessary. You have some social credibility, and I will back whatever moves you must make. I would say avoid violence in the streets if possible, given everything. But if it comes to that, you have my full authority. I trust you not to use violence indiscreetly. Also, having Cleric back you on that case would be good. Hence, I asked you all to come. I know it's quite a lot for your first day in the city, but I have faith in someone highly recommended by our own Priest of Osprum as someone who can handle herself in dangerous situations.
Thank you so much. Is there something that we can carry with us as a symbol of your authority in case we're questioned?
I suppose I could give you a copy of my seal. Phoenix, though, carries her own political weight and is known as my heir apparent. I will give you a seal, and you'll have to share it between the three of you.
Very good. Thank you.
Here. And she hands the seal to Phoenix. Take this. Okay. You had it up in one fort. Hopefully it served well for that.
Thank you.
Yes. So, tomorrow night, dinner party. I trust you to be relatively discreet, if possible. However, I understand it is not always the most possible. And she kind of dismisses you, unless you guys have any more questions for her.
When and where should we report back to you the results of our investigation?
Perhaps tomorrow night, or the morning after the party would be a good place to start, and then you can tell me how things are going, what you might have learned. Hopefully nothing goes horribly sideways before then.
What are the chances, right? Just a quick question. Which character is Dagger and Biggie Paw playing?
Dagger is playing Almi. No, you're playing Almi.
Yeah,
Dagger's playing
Almi,
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Okay.
Yes, Phoenix, the heir apparent. And Biggie is playing Greta Gutplate because we had our player who was playing Keldon Stoneheart drop out at last minute, and we need some sort of muscle. So,
great. Thanks, guys. Okay.
Yeah. Biggie said he didn't mind whether he's playing her or Nelf, and I figured, and I was debating on that, which would be more dynamic, and...
Do you actually have the character sheet so I could
look at yes, it? I never sent you the character sheet. That is a...
Biggie has a picture of Greta behind him, so that's good.
It's a good start, yes. I have a... if I'd known I could put Alder on it, I would have done so, but... Let me get that sent to you via sent an email, an email address. So I had sent them out earlier for everyone, and I meant to send you. Okay, you can see this organization is a little wonky. I hope all of you in
if you didn't
all two of you viewing
linked it in Discord, so I could have got it back.
The problem with that is I can't send files.
Okay.
Yes, I mean I suppose I could copy paste it for you. I'm also sending you though a copy of the quick notes, which the character sheet is a little bit, as the other two have seen, slapdash. That is to say, I put the character sheets together based in as a Word document with all the information needed, but not in the same order. Greta is here, and the cheat sheet. So I should say the system we're using is called Powered by the Apocalypse. Technically, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, I felt it was good for Hardby. However, I've added some modifications to the fighting because I felt like Greyhawk, there really should be a risk of physical injury and death. And I thought that would, especially if the Scarlet Brotherhood, because, well, I won't spoil things too much, but they're not afraid to use force if needed. And I won't say you will automatically get into a fight with them and they're going to try to kill you, but they are. So you're using 2d6, and you're using 2d6. I should have sent you the email containing it. I can send you a copy on Discord as well of the character notes if you absolutely need it. Phoenix, Truth of, yes. Greta Gut Plate. Here we go.
Okay. Got that one.
Yes.
So Lee, I have your cheat sheet notes that have the frightened and various conditions and so on, and
yes.
Then I have sort of notes about Almi, but I don't have like a traditional character sheet that has hit points and whatnot.
The hit points are the same for everyone. That is to say, if you get 5 conditions, you are out for the count.
Okay.
The character sheets. So the way it works is you have moves that you can use. I believe I gave you, if I recall correctly, your stats: daring, grace, heart, wit, and spirit.
Got it. Yes.
Yep.
And then I gave you some playbook moves that are separate from the regular moves. Basically, if you ever want to do something, you can call out you want to make a move, and then and if you want to do something and there's no move readily available, I will figure out what you need to roll or let you automatically succeed.
Okay.
You're rolling 2d. Basically, what you do is you roll 2d6, add a relevant stat and any bonuses you might have, and then you, if you get more than a 6, you get some success. If you get more than a 10, it's unqualified. If you get a 7 through 9, yes, you get something, but something bad might happen in return. Depends on circumstance, but there will be, consequences, essentially. It's a fairly simple system. Powered by the Apocalypse there's a number of games that use this, the same move system, the same 7 through 9. Exactly which moves you can make are varied by. There is a separate, so combat gets interesting because it's very fluid, but it actually works quite well, or it worked quite well last year, the fighting system, as long as you pick individual opponents and go from there. We haven't yet seen any team-ups, but we shall see how that goes. Any opponent has a number of conditions, just kind of generic. NPCs kind of have generic ones. So you apply enough conditions, they will either pass out or die. You can choose to kill them, choose to spare them, depending on how you're, whether or not you want to go for the kill or try to cripple or them into submission. So...
Do we need dice ourselves, or are you going to make the rolls for us?
No. I tend to not roll. I can if you can't find 2d6s. I will absolutely agree to make the rolls for you. I just didn't know.
So I'll go fetch 2d6 then.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sorry, I should have told you that it's a 2d6 system, and you guys, I trust you guys to roll, that you're not going to, cheat. If you do, you're only cheating yourself. But yes, 2d6, I figured... most players have at least 1d6. If you only have one, you can roll it twice and add them. Yes. But yes. Okay. And yes. So if anything comes up, I know it seems for me it was pretty intuitive to learn, to run and to learn. So it is an interesting system in that it's got a little more weight for emotional roleplay. So, and it seemed kind of perfect for Hardby given everything. Yeah, that's kind of why I first was drawn to that. I had the module, the rulebook, and it seemed perfect for Hardby, so I was like, yes, let's do this. And it worked quite well.
Okay, I'm back. Got 2d6.
Yes. 2d6, good.
Phoenix would know about the only male
Yes. Travis. Yes, Zagig.
despot, I guess.
Yes, Despot Zagig. So back in 2039, there was a session crisis. It was much more strict mother to daughter then. It has become a little more fluid in terms of if the despotrics, and there's approval of the other members of the nobility needed, but it generally has been for the past few despotrics the same mother to daughter. She wants someone in the immediate family, someone who knows how to rule, that kind of thing, and that's worked quite well. But the current despotrix doesn't have a daughter. That was what happened in 339. So she's basically trying to stave that off by having you as an heir apparent. And yeah, Zagig came when his mother was, he was actually Lord Mayor of Greyhawk at the time, which, since the Landgraftum dissolved, Hardby has been completely independent from Greyhawk, and they're fighting to preserve that. Greyhawk does not like that. It's been a source of constant tension during those years, during the past few decades. But yes, the Zagig was despot of Hardby for quite a while, until he renounced the and designated one of your ancestors as the despotrix in his place, and it kind of went from there.
Okay.
But yes.
So he didn't try to reform the whole system to make it
not a
female
dynasty.
dominated.
Yeah, he didn't. He was just ruled. He actually ascended to godhood. Funny story. And is now a god of magic and madness, and I believe his domains are. He was eccentricity, occult lore, unpredictability. He was a little bit less than sane. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you've known the lore of Zagig.
Yeah.
But yes, he is a little bit wonky. But Travis is hoping that maybe he could pull the same kind of political move. He's been working to discredit you. He wrecked the Wave Crest, which was your ship. He smashed the mast right before you were to leave for One Ford. It's been repaired since. If you should need to sail somewhere, probably not. The threat seems to be close to the city, but...
and do I suspect this?
Well, true, you never figure out exactly who smashed the mast, but he's top on the list of suspects, and but yes, it's been a few days, and you just got back from fighting a terrifying battle in which you were, I believe, injured, and it's been a few days. You guys did pretty well in the battle. Last year, we had the same characters, and they were fighting that. So, yes, this is the continuation of that. Incidentally, it is available on YouTube, but you guys don't. I'll fill in any details that you need to know about that. But yes, so you would know about Zagig. You would know about your brother Travis's questionable account with Zagig, and you would know that about the Scarlet Brotherhood thing, because you actually were warned by Theron right before you left that he had that, and that he would give you more information if he could. Incidentally, you have received a missive from Theron asking you to meet him, both as a romantic gesture and because he had more information. Mostly because he had more information. Although, given he's trying to, court you, there might be undertones of that. But
one of many suitors, I'm
yes.
assuming. Yes.
A handful, but he is in some favorability. He's sweet, and
so Phoenix kind of likes him.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
He's sweet and comes from a decent family, and has been very respectful, but he did send you a missive saying to meet him tonight, that he might have important information. So there is that. And given that you've been asked by the Spotrix to investigate this, and he was the one who initially told you about the Scarlet Brotherhood, might be worth going. Perhaps taking all of the retinue. I don't necessarily think you have to, but...
So how does that conflict with the timing of the
dinner party.
the dinner party? Yes.
It's the next night. So
Okay.
she gave you a day of warning to... an extra day to prep, to maybe ask around, get nice clothes, prepare yourselves, and they gave you a few days lead time on this.
I particularly need to get some clothes. My clothes are more workaday type outfits for
Yes.
traveling and fighting and so forth. I
Yes.
typically am not a dinner party girl.
Yeah, well,
Okay. So are we away from the Despotrix now?
yes, she's dismissed you. Unless you had any more questions, yes, she dismissed you, and you are free to do as you will.
So I'm going to motion everybody over and say I've been given a message by Theron, who is a nobleman who is interested in me. That may have some bearing on our mission from the Despotrix. He wants us to meet with him tonight, or he wants me to. And I think if this information is as useful and relevant as I think it may be, then we should probably all go.
I agree. I'd be happy to join you, Phoenix.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay?
All right. Is Greta going as well?
Yeah, Greta will go as well.
Okay.
Feeling a little out of place, but we'll go.
All right. Yes. So you end up at a small restaurant, and as soon as you come in, they immediately recognize you. They immediately recognize Greta and are hesitant, but allow you to sit. They do basically bring out a crate for you to sit on instead, because you probably will break the chair if you sit on it. But they do have a setup that works. And you wait. How long? He doesn't show up, interestingly enough. How long would you wait?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. After
Maybe
1
we
hour...
could send someone. Maybe we could send someone to inquire. What's causing the delay.
We
Is there
could,
a messenger
absolutely.
we might send?
There are
Let's-
several
let's-
pages in the Dispatcher's Manor who Phoenix would be able to send. You also have Greta. You know a couple people too who can inquire more discreetly. You've in your time in the city have learned a few.
So maybe after about 30 minutes, we'll send someone to fetch him or inquire what's the
Okay.
delay.
You're going to send an official Pallets page?
Yes.
Okay. After about 20 minutes, the page returns with a woman who is pregnant, not excessively so, but enough to be noticed. And she kind of comes, and she seems upset, but comes to the table and sits down. I think you might have caused my brother to be hurt in some way.
Who are
Nobody's
you?
seen him for...
Hello. Joining us at our table.
Yeah.
I mean, I would know her. Right.
Yes,
Oh, what-
you would. He actually did invite you. When the baby's born, they're going to, a few months after, have a big celebration, and as soon as the baby's gotten a little past infancy and is healthy, because that's not always a guarantee. But a few months in, they're going to have a dedication ceremony to Pelor. It's going to be a big deal, and he actually invited you to come.
Okay.
He asked you if you wanted to. He asked Phoenix if you wanted to come to that. She's well known in the quarter. She's You've met her a few times. She is a relatively noble descent. She's a second daughter, probably not going to get any political power, but her husband is the minor son of a cousin house of yours, actually. So, a higher branch off the family tree from a few generations back. But yeah. Kind of narrows her eyes.
We could not have gotten him hurt. He was the one who reached out to us. And unfortunately, I don't know much about what it was he wanted to tell us. Perhaps you know something.
Yes, he said that you'd asked him to look out for certain something or other, some political thing. And he had he'd heard something that they were planning. He told me that much. She kind of sighs.
Heard something that who was planning?
Someone, a group, I don't know if you've heard of the Scarlet Brotherhood. From what I've heard, not someone you want to get on the wrong side of. And my knowledge of them is sketchy, except for, and she kind of glances at Greta, they were involved in what happened recently with the slavery trade.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of now.
When's the last time you saw your brother?
This morning. He's living at home. Oh, he's living with me temporarily, and he's been staying for the past few weeks. I saw him this morning. He was in good faith, relatively, although he's nervous, but I think partly about what he met and partly because kind of looks at Phoenix. He really does have genuine, it's not just a power play. He genuinely thinks highly of you.
Well, be that as it may, we can't have nobles and citizens disappearing now, can we?
No.
You saw, what was the exact last moment that you saw him?
About an hour before noon.
And what was he doing?
He was going to the lounge, I believe. Some dice game or other petty things men do to pass time.
Did you bring us there so we could perhaps pick up his trail there? Figure out what happened?
I'm sure you know where it is. Last time, apparently you came there looking for trouble. Well, he didn't specify it that way, but he was impressed, actually, with your, among other things, with the boldness of you going there.
Then I think that's where we need to go.
All right. It is at this point getting rather late, but the lounge will still be open. They generally go late into the night.
Yeah, let's head on over there and see whether he showed up there and what he did and where he might have gone afterwards. We can hopefully chase him down.
All right. So you head over there, and it's very discreet. There's a small sign over the door, but you'd barely be able to see it. It's a door at street level, and then it's upstairs. It's up a flight of stairs, and it's up a flight of stairs, and and the guard on the door actually recognizes you. Lady Narbelos, you're back. Kind of glances at Greta, frowns, hesitates, and then said, I was, kind of glances between you. I guess, perhaps I will tell you when you leave. I believe you have more. Let's just say there are rumors.
What's up? What you're speaking in riddles. What is it you're referring to? What are the rumors? What's up?
Well, I'm supposed to keep some discretion, but Travis Narbelos has, well, let's just say there are some rumors that his concubine might be more for show than anything, given, although they haven't crossed any lines that I can see. But given his brother, they assume certain things, and that particular man that he's become acquainted with, who's new to the city, is somehow dangerous.
So Travis has a relationship with a dangerous person from out of Hardby?
Yes.
No.
Okay. How long have they been interacting with one another?
First came about 3 weeks ago. Invited by another man of some repute, having been new to Hardby and fairly prominent. He's been coming here for a few weeks, usually in the company of Travis.
Tell us more. I mean, have they been meeting here and gaming, or dining together, or riding together?
They usually appear together, but that's not unusual. Men often appear, you know how it is. Close friendships are important, and generally women don't come to the lounge.
Have you seen Theron? We thought he was here.
He left an hour or two ago, said he had a date, as it were. Seemed excited and nervous. I didn't ask too much, but him and his bodyguard left roughly about 2-3 hours ago.
Which direction did they go?
And you can see the guard is an interior, just there's like a vestibule.
Right.
He shrugged. I didn't watch them leave. Past the door.
I understand.
Did anybody go with them?
No, just the two of them.
Anyone follow?
No. Hesitates. Although, about 20 minutes later, another man, who's a friend of, had been invited. He's been coming past few weeks. Another newbie to the city. Actually wear matching lapel pins, interestingly enough. Came and he left not long after they did, but claimed he'd lost too much coin at the gambling and didn't feel like staying to hang out, as it were.
Tell me about the lapel pin.
Oh, it's silly. It's just some red frippery, the usual fashion pieces. I don't pay too much attention. I don't have the coin for that sort of thing, but, red with a black gem in the center. Nothing particularly fancy.
And the new friend that Travis made, do you recall his name?
Corthon, I believe.
Corson?
No, it was, that was another young man, who came in. He was, Ickens, I believe? Something like
Higgins?
that. Ickens, something like that. Interestingly, sounding, a very Suel-y sounding name, but
Okay. I'm also Sewell, so would I know anything about the name or
Ikens is a fairly common name, like being named George. Like it's
Okay.
a fairly common name. Not every other like guy, but enough that you know like. There was one a young man named Ikens who was also at the temple in Eric's Landing. This is probably not him. He's still back there as far as you know, but it's a common enough first name that you know. And you knew someone had an Uncle Ikens, and then they'd mention that back and forth. So it's, you know, not unusual enough that you'd be able to trace it necessarily.
Okay. Well, Greta, what should we do? Maybe we kind of step away from the guards so we can kind of speak quietly
Yeah.
amongst ourselves.
That would probably necessitate stepping outside, but yeah.
I'll hand the guard some coin.
He kind of blinks. That's very generous. And narrows his eyes. He does kind of tell Greta, well, perhaps it's not wholly suitable, but I did receive word that if I saw you, I should give you this. And kind of hands you a note.
Okay. Greta opens it up and looks at it. What does the note say?
It says, "I hope to meet me." It was, you did get another note from, the same, you believe it's the same half-orc, who, he slipped you a note the same time leading to a meeting, but unfortunately that you had to spend a few days in one fort and couldn't make the meeting. I understand you got involved in some, fighting. Hopefully you're okay. There's been rumors of trouble. Please stay safe. And if maybe you'd still think favorably of me. And then he did draw a little heart. Goro.
Who is it actually from?
Goro is, you've met him in passing. He's a half-orc. He serves as a bodyguard to actually the same noble house as the young man the young man who's married to Theron's sister. But he works as a bodyguard for them. His brother, I think. He's been kind of coy around you. He sent you flowers actually at one point. But, you know, he's not really any power player or anything. The family serves as, you know, mid-level power, but nothing crazy. He's, a half-orc, came to the city because he heard it was a good opportunity. Got snapped up. He's tall, fairly tall even for half-orc, broad-shouldered, decently good-looking for, you know.
So he's a half-orc, not a half-ogre.
No, he is a half-orc, not a half-ogre. But,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, not a power player, but he had heard there was trouble, apparently. He asked you to, said stay safe, and, yeah. So,
What do you think, guys? Should we try to wander up and down the streets and maybe look to see whether there's some telltale sign of his passing, or perhaps go and speak to Goron and see if he might know something more?
I think the first thing we should do is try to retrace Theron's steps. I'm assuming he would be heading home from here.
Most likely, yes. Late in the afternoon, he had a date afterward. Yeah, he'd probably be heading home.
Right.
Just to see if we can find any clue along the way.
Right, or maybe some sort of evidence of a skirmish or some problem that he may have encountered en route.
Yeah.
Let's maybe do that. We'll just keep our eyes and ears open as we go, in the hopes of picking up his trail.
Sure.
All right.
Yes, you head around, and there should be a move for this. I would say, there's no specific move, but, next they're all interpersonal, tricksy stuff, but, roll a plus wit, each of you, I would say. So 2d6, add whatever your little wit bonus is. It should be like a +1, +2, -1, -0, depending on how smart your characters are. Roll 2d6 and add that.
9.
Oh, okay.
6.
Oh, good. That's 2 of you. I think it's Greta who didn't roll.
No, I got a 6.
Okay, you got the 6. Almi got the, no, Phoenix got the 9. Almi, that's the one who didn't roll.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Almi has a 7.
7. Okay. Excellent. So, none of you got all of mixed beats. None of you got anything negative, but none of you got unqualified success. So I will say, you do overhear some of the shopkeep mutter that they'd heard, had mentioned that they heard some. You overhear a shopkeep saying, "Did you hear? There was a scuffle out. I hope it's nothing terrible. Probably a fight. You know how back alley. There are a few rough orcs in the neighborhood. Nothing too serious. Well, half orcs, I should say." Kind of rolls her eyes. They're relatively okay, but sometimes they do get a little violent. But there was a fight earlier. I'm sure of it. A fight? What, in the back alley? Yeah, probably a scuffle over something stupid. But yeah, that's what you overhear. You poke around in various places along the route. That's what you overhear. Take that as you will.
Let's go investigate the back alley and see if there might be some piece of stray clothing or some evidence of the scuffle we might be able to deduce something from.
Yeah. It's pretty well scuffed over. There's a few half-orcs talking quietly in kind of a corner of the alley, but there's a little bit of blood on the ground, but nothing particularly noticeable.
So what does the ground look like? Is it like a cobblestone or
cobbles? Yeah, it's cobbles. This one is a little, it's disrepair. The cobblestones are there's busted ones. It's not well maintained.
So we won't be able to see like drag marks.
No. Yeah, maybe if the depending on what might have happened.
Strike up a conversation with the nearby half-orcs to see if they saw or heard anything.
One of them kind of shrugs. You know how it goes. Some asshole. Actually, I think you have... this would actually be perfect for figure a person out. So, you're trying to figure out what they're actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it goes. Watch showed up. Nothing much.
Who was involved? Did you recognize any of the people that were fighting?
Kind of hesitates. Roll a figure person out.
Okay.
I'll determine.
Got an 8. And what modifier would I use for figure person?
That one
that
is...
would be wit?
Yes, I believe. Hang on. Figure... it would be more... yes, plus wit.
Okay. So
if you had the emotional connection to any of those guys, you could add a +3, but you don't. They're just random strangers, so...
Okay, so I rolled an 8, so wit -1, so 7.
7. They shrug. Watch came and got some beat up asshole off the street. You know how it is.
Is it a human or another
Nah,
half-orc
half-orc,
like
but-
yourself?
Nah,
That could have been the guard,
could have been.
the bodyguard.
Yeah. How were they dressed? Were they wearing any particular livery?
I didn't see. Just saw them dragging him away. Seemed pretty out of it. Didn't pay much attention, honestly.
So you didn't see the fight.
Nah. Just saw the guard dragging him away. The other one kind of looks at you. What's it to you anyway? Kind of
None
looks
of
at.
your business.
Kind
Just
of.
answer the questions.
He kind of goes to argue. Looks at Greta. Decides he doesn't want any trouble with that, and just kind of shrugs. He was, you know.
If he was dragged away by guards, wouldn't the guard we talked to a little ways back have known something about that?
I think that was the shopkeeper guard.
Yeah, that was
want
just-
to go to the local guard post. to
Yeah,
see
local
how the
guard.
police-
Guard, you know, as probably it's a common term for the city watch. They're often referred to as guards. There's a technical term,
Okay.
but yeah, when he says guard, he probably means city watch.
We need to go talk to the captain of the city watch.
Where's the nearest guard post?
And kind of points down that way. Can't miss it. And you know roughly kind of the one he's talking about. You
Okay.
guys have been in the city long enough. You kind of get a sense of those. And you're in a this area of the city is kind of well off, but it's a little rough around the edges. But it's not anything. It's not a really bad neighborhood in the slums or anything. So
Okay.
you've been here before, passed through. You know where the guard post is roughly.
I'd say, guys, let's head up that way and see if we can find any more information.
All right.
At least figure out whether this half-orc is connected at all with Theron.
All right. And you head up. And at this point, it's getting kind of late. Maybe 9-ish. Between, it was a dinner anyway. You're waiting an hour, or at least half an hour, and then, talking to that, going to the... So it's getting kind of late. 8 or 9-ish. It's, well dark. And, given that... And it's Hardby is far south enough that it doesn't get that cold, but it does get dark, soon, later in, or earlier in the, toward the end of the month. I can actually tell you, it would be roughly past Brewfest, so somewhere around late Patchwall, early Ready Reet. I don't have the exact date, but definitely autumn coming. Yeah, definitely autumn. And the light is starting to get dim. But yes,
Okay.
yeah. So and when you get to the guard post, you do, you talk to, the guard kind of looks at you, Lady Norbellos, you are not expected. What can I do for you? Kind of looks at,
I believe you may have the bodyguard of a friend of mine in custody.
Indeed. We haven't taken him into custody. There was a a half orc who was injured, beaten to near death, actually. Luckily, he was found and brought in, and we let him go after a time.
Well, the concern is that Lord Theron may have been with him.
Lord Theron, kind of rakes his name for the name. One of the name sounds familiar, but I don't know exactly who that is.
You don't need to know. What I need to know is where you've taken the fork.
He was left of his own volition. He was injured, but we have a priest of St. Cuthbert who acts as a medic, and he got a little bit of healing, and, well, he wasn't charged with anything. He didn't do anything, so when he wanted to leave, we let him leave. He wasn't dangerously close to dying anymore, and, you know.
What was his
So
name?
you have no idea where he is?
No.
What was the half-orc's name?
The
He said his name was Goran, something like that.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Greta?
You actually do know where Goran lives, roughly. He's mentioned it. You don't know directly, but he might have gone back there. He might have gone back to the house. Theron's sister didn't mention it if he did, but...
I said we check out his house first, and then if he's not there, go to Theron's house and see if he managed to go see if he got home safe.
I agree. It's hot-footed. Back to wherever Greta thinks he's most likely to be.
So it's a kind of a... not a slum, it's some housing sprung up. Usually a number of people who work for the various nobles maintain rooms there. Usually those who have families. Goran, his mother was living there. He did come to the city, eventually managed to get her into the city, and he has two much younger brothers as well who were living there. He was staying with them. He did have a room earlier, but he was very pleased that he got a chance to live with his mother. A little bit hesitant, a little embarrassed, but he liked it, and it was a good setup. So, and you do know which room is hers. He pointed it out to you once. But
I'll tell the city watch person.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say anything about this to anyone.
He kind of nods. Lips are sealed. I suppose, of course, Lady Arbellos. He's probably not a watchman. He's probably just a secretary of some sort. But he,
Right.
Yeah. You see a couple of, mostly women, but a couple men kind of hanging around. They come in and out, probably patrols. You see one dragging some human kid, looks like he's maybe a teenager, off cuffed up. But a lot of them kind of glance. Greta is not exactly subtle, and they know of Lady Phoenix Norbellos, and occasionally they'll glance at Almi, but because it is unusual to see clerics out and about. I'm guessing you prominently display your holy symbol?
Yes.
Alright, yeah, so there's not a lot of clerics of Osprey in this part of town, so you make an unusual trio, but none of them say anything. Yeah.
Okay, so we make our way to... Where do you think, Greta?
I say we go to his house first.
Very good.
Okay.
Then we'll go check out Thorin's house and see if he's managed to make his way back there.
Um, you do make your way there, and you knock on the door, presumably, unless you're going to stake it out first.
No, I would go and knock right on the door.
And it's answered by a middle-aged human woman. Looks kind of haggard. Kind of has her hair tied back. Practical clothes. Not rags or anything, but, worn basic dress, nothing fancy. She kind of opens the door and is like, looks at Greta, blinks. Oh, you are quite tall. Looks at Phoenix, looks at Almi. Did something happen?
Good evening. We're looking.
Is your son here?
Which son?
Goron.
Oh, he is.
Wonderful. We were concerned about him. We're so glad he's safe.
I'm going to
speak with him.
Well, I don't know if he'd want visitors, but given he speaks highly of you, come in.
Thank you. It's very gracious of you.
Yeah.
My name is Almi. I'm a priestess of Osprum.
Osprum. Suloy's, one of the sea gods, yes?
Indeed.
Kind of nods. A lot of them at the temple. You don't have any healing, that you can do you?
I may be able to help. Is Goron injured?
Yes. He came back from the watch. He just sighs. She just sighs. He was. She just sighs. He had a fairly safe job, Bodyguards. No one tries anything with the nobles. Apparently, one of them did.
I have some salves and ointments and may be able to help in other ways. If he's up to seeing visitors, we'd love to say hello. And Greta, I think, has known him for some time.
Yes, he speaks highly of her. That's the only reason I kind of glanced at Felix. Opens her mouth to say something, decides against it, and just kind of leads you to, there's a back room with 3 beds, one of them being occupied by Goron, the other 2 are kind of smaller, and he is kind of sits up as soon as coughs slightly. He does not look so good. Even with a little magical healing, they wouldn't have wasted a high-level slot on him, and it shows. And he kind of looks up, looks at Greta. Oh, and he starts blushing. I wouldn't have expected you to come. Obviously, you know how it is. It was very good of you to come, but I'm not in any. And he kind of is looking like he's like kind of pulling the blankets. He's probably not wearing much more than underclothes. He's kind of stuttering. He's nervous, but he
Greta kind of kneels down next to him and takes his hand and asks who did this to him.
I didn't see. I fought as best I could. And he kind of looks down. They were robed in black. Humans probably. Pale. But you couldn't see much of the face.
Were you traveling with Theron?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What happened to Theron?
Well, Lord Theron was... I didn't... He was probably taken. I have to tell his family, but I kind of looks down, and he kind of glances, and you can see that the clothes he was wearing are kind of draped on the bed, the edge of the bed, and he looks at the family crest. His sister is going to be so mad. I'll have to tell her soon, but there's no link. There's nothing to go on. Just faceless assassins. There's no body, though, so I think... Kind of glances. He's probably fine. And he sees, Phoenix, and you've seen him a few times, around, chaperoning, various dates. He's avoiding looking directly at you.
I'm trying to hide the dismay from my face of a bodyguard being attacked by villains and not immediately reporting it to his employers that the person he was guarding is gone. And he's in his bed at his house.
I mean, he was half dead and knocked out, I think. So.
Yeah. So yeah, he also he really does not look good. You can see there's bruising. Probably had at least one rib still kind of broken, even with a healing spell.
Right. So while hiding my dismay and disappointment at this worthless bodyguard, I nonetheless go over and see. Well, I have some salves and bandages here in my pouch, and I may be able to provide some healing or at least relieve some of the pain. Where does it hurt? And if I have a healing spell, put that on him, and if not,
yes,
I'll patch him up with ointments and so on.
Oh yes. Yes. So yes. Oh, all right. Roll a +10. Roll a plus, which is it's plus spirit.
Spirit.
Yes.
Okay, spirit, and I get 9 and 2 is 11.
11. Okay. So you heal him up. You gain a string, which is an emotional, a kind of emotional token. Think of it like heartstring. So he is grateful, and he can kind of tell you're disappointed, and you can leverage that against him later if you want. I will write that down.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so he is healed a bunch, and you can either grant him the ability to talk to, say, fish, or oppose emotional condition if he doesn't answer a question from the figure personnel list. One or the other.
Is that something I would need to do right now, or just...
It would be...
Okay, influence with a string, I see it here. At any
Yes.
time, spend a string on someone to do one of the following.
Well, no, it would be... You could ask him... you can after, but first... I mean, you don't have to get him... You don't have to do all three, but... or do any of them. You can get... how could I get you to do something? What do you love the most? How would you feel if I... You can ask him, like, a very deep personal question if you want. And
okay, so kind of to figure out a person...
Yes, that one. And then you can, of course, influence a string if you want to try to get him something... leverage him for something else.
What would be the best way for us to help Theron now? It just seems... We're very concerned that he may be in danger.
He kind of hesitates. And you can see him thinking, find out the one who'd been hanging around, the new guy who'd been hanging around with Travis, your cousin, actually, there was something about him that, figured out, I think he did some research into symbols or something. He ended up doing some research, actually, on account of you wanted to know, and he thought maybe if he told you, I don't know.
Goran did some research, or Theron did some research?
Theron did some research.
Okay.
He didn't tell me exactly what he found, but that's probably some sort of information is why people get beat up, right? You know the wrong thing, you overhear something you shouldn't have, and they don't. I mean, we hear stuff all the time, but no one pays attention.
It's likely he discovered that my cousin's new acquaintance is in fact a member of the Scarlet Brotherhood.
When you say Scarlet Brotherhood, he stiffens. Like the Scarlet Brotherhood?
That would seem to be the symbols he was researching, if all the clues we've discovered so far are accurate.
He kind of close. I would say you got two options. Either go as far away from the Scarlet Brotherhood as you can, or kind of glance at Phoenix. If you, and then he looks away. He'd probably tell you to go as far away as you can, and I figure that's probably not what you're gonna do. I mean, you could poke around with your cousin, see if he can leverage you any information. If he knew things were dangerous, he's power hungry, but maybe not that power hungry.
Is that what Theron told you?
I mean, not as specifically. He said, he didn't say much. He doesn't tell me certain things, but I've observed. And that's all I know. They hang out in the same social circles. But it was his...
From the alley that you were in, what would be the most discreet way to take someone?
There's a house, a business. They have a back door there. If they didn't drag him out into the street pretending something, or pull him up some way, maybe have a cart. They had a cart stuck there. No one would really... I mean, if they made the cart look... Or they went in with the... tailor shop has a basement there. They have a door. I've never seen anyone use it for anything, though.
And this is the area where you were
in the alley?
There was one, actually, now that I think on it. A merchant's cart. They shoved us... It kind of moved when they shoved us around, but I didn't think much of that. Pretty standard stuff. A couple barrels, a couple sacks, nothing unusual. A lot of businesses.
Any markings on the wagon or the driver of the wagon?
I didn't see much. I wasn't half paying attention. As soon as I saw it move, but then there was other concerns.
Sounds like.
And we didn't see a wagon in the alley when we went through. Is that right?
Yeah, there were a couple carts passing by, but none that were, distinctly stopped near there.
Hmm.
It'd be really hard to track a cart.
Right.
We'd have to go back and talk to the shop owner to find out where the cart went to.
And that's assuming that any of them had noticed.
Paid attention. Right.
If they hadn't ordered the goods themselves, they probably would have. It's like having a delivery van in the neighborhood. Maybe you remember it specifically, but if you're busy running your business, you just assume it's someone dropping off something for someone else, and
What is Oren's mom's name?
She doesn't Magorda would know. Her name is Lillian.
Lillian.
She was originally from Voluna, and she got a lot of flack from having a half-orc child.
Millian, as we were coming in, you were going to share something with us, and then hesitated. Is there anything that you could share with us that would help your son and help us find Theron?
No. He kind of looks. She seems uncomfortable with like she's looking at Phoenix and like specifically and just I wouldn't have let you in to see him, but she's kind of flustered. Like, she knows Phoenix is somebody high up, and she does not know how to handle a random lady. Like, she does not know someone powerful and that coming into her house. She's unsure of the whole thing. Like, nobles do not usually come to this area, so
she's intimidated by you.
yes, exactly. And
Do I get the sense she might say something if I wasn't there?
roll a plus wit.
9.
Yeah, no, probably. There's probably nothing. You get the sense she just,
Yeah, she's just flustered.
yeah, flustered. Her son just got beat within an inch of his life. She thinks he mentioned to watch, so she probably knows it was worse, and it was already bad. Like, even after you healed him, he still, he still has bruising. Like, this was. There's probably internal bleeding that between you and the cleric at the watch house it's probably not going to be a problem, but it definitely got ugly, and he stumbled home. She immediately, it's more like things are going sideways, and she's not sure how to deal with that.
If I have some sort of sedative in my healer's kit, I give that to her just to kind of help her calm down a little bit and not be so anxious.
Sure. And as you do, she kind of smiles gratefully. Thank you. And I would say you do get a string on her as well. So.
Okay, I'll just make a note.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll need it. She's not exactly know anything, but...
Yeah, no, it's just kind of a goodwill.
Yeah. Collecting strings left and right.
Well, guys, can you think of anything else that we could ask either Millian or Goran?
No, I think we're kind of at a standstill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will know that if he did find out something about what was known, you might be able to figure out what it was if, tomorrow night you are going into the lion's den, so to speak. Seeing this mysterious Scarlet Brotherhood guy face to face. So.
Okay. Well, before we depart, I offer a prayer for Mospram and bless both of them.
Okay. They have the blessings of a god, for what that's worth.
That's worth a tremendous amount.
Yes, I'm sure.
Priceless. Priceless.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. So yes, you guys head out. At this point, it is getting quite late.
Yeah, I think we should straight away go back to whoever the appropriate person is to report that Theron has been abducted. I mean, it's like
yeah, you could report it to the watch directly.
Well, I'm thinking like the parents or
Oh.
someone back at like
Yes,
somebody
you
that's
could
got
report it
some,
to
like,
I'm
his.
not sure
power.
if we
Yeah.
should say anything.
You think?
Yeah,
And a neighbor,
because we have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. And the more that we say that, the more that they know that we know.
That's true
Okay.
too. Your his sister probably suspects something like this happened, and he was staying with
let's
her.
at least
and-
tell her, right? Because she's blaming Phoenix for getting Theron into all this.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because he
We
was
need to make sure
researching
she
this
stays on side with
Phoenix's
us.
behalf. But yeah, you could go and speak to her if you wanted.
What do you think?
The thing is, if you speak to her, chances
Yes.
are pretty good she's going to go back to her parents and speak to her parents.
Yeah. And they're
Um,
going to
Yeah.
go to the city
I mean, she
watch
has
and-
been
yeah.
living, independent. She's a married woman. She has already has a son who's 3 at this point, second on the way. So she's not. I mean, she's connected to her parents and might tell them, but she's not, directly.
I think we should just keep the information to ourselves for the moment and wait and see if a ransom note or something shows up.
Waiting and seeing if a ransom note. Because I highly doubt a ransom is what they're looking for.
Right. So, but I feel like if we stir up the hornet's nest, that will only endanger Theron. Like they'll just kill him.
Pretty good bet.
So what's your play?
So do we want to go back to that alley and
So it's pretty late at night.
Yeah, it is definitely getting to the
Uh,
point where things are closing down. Civilized people would be in bed.
Yeah.
It's nightlife time. It's probably
Yeah, I'd say let's head back to Theron's / his sister's house, get some sleep, and then first thing in the morning, ask if we could look through Theron's things to perhaps gather any clues that might be there as to what he
Yeah.
was researching, what he found. who he's
So
gonna
do you want to
meet
go
with.
to his ask to stay over at his sister's house? Because that
Yeah, I would think so.
I think that'd be a little weird. I mean, don't
Yeah.
we have a place to play?
Yeah, you guys have, Greta. You've been granted a room in the servants' quarters of this the Gynarch's manor. Phoenix, you have a room there as well. I mean, you have procured lodgings in town, but the Despotrics will absolutely open up a room for you if asked, especially because she's kind of dragged you into her plans. She heard about you and was like, this makes sense. Someone who's out of town, who doesn't have too much of an agenda, but is competent based on the local. I believe you were probably staying somewhere near the temple of Ospram.
Okay.
Okay. Probably
Makes
put
sense.
up by the local priesthood.
Sure.
So, yeah, you guys have lodgings elsewhere in the city.
Okay, so we're sort of sleeping separately in different neighborhoods or different areas.
I mean,
in Hardby or
Greta and Phoenix would be in the same, household.
Okay.
It's a big place, so yeah. And you could be there as well if you thought it would help.
yeah,
You could also
Yeah.
ask the priest of the temple to put you all up there if you thought it would be safer to be away from where you normally are.
I think we should just act as if things are still relatively normal.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as what people from the outside would have seen is that we were expecting to meet there and we didn't find him. We went looking for him, didn't find him, and now we're going home. It's not really that suspicious. Like no one should suspect that we're on to.
Yeah,
what
not necessarily
the
if you
plot
didn't
may be.
speak to Theron, and yes,
The
as a
chances
concerned
of them
suitor,
moving
that would
him-
be within
chances of them moving them during the daylight is going to be slim.
Hmm.
Because more people
So
will be out and about.
I think
True,
we
but
just-
also
we go
they've
back
had
to our-
several hours to get him to wherever he's going. They had,
Well, the thing is, I mean, they could have taken him into the basement of a shop and he could be there
could,
and
but
still
they
be there.
could still be there, but they also could have taken them on the cart and been pretty innocuous.
Yeah, I think the odds are that they took him on the cart.
I mean, you can go back to the alley, and the tailor shop might be able to tell you. They might let you into. They're probably going to let you into the basement, given Greta, especially, and also Phoenix, between hard power and soft power. Intimidation power, and two completely different intimidation factors. They'll probably let you see whatever is down there. So you could look for him down there if you thought he might be stashed down there.
I think it'd be better to check it out now than wait until morning to check it out.
That's true. I will say,
that would be like pretty crazy to have somebody banging on your door at midnight saying, "Hey, I want to go into your basement."
but he is closing up for the day. And he has a apartment above the thing, and he comes down to yell at you about sleep or something, and then he sees Greta. He immediately backpedals, looks at Phoenix and says, "I'm going to get my wife." And he goes back up, and she comes down and looks at you and says, Lady Norbellos, is something...
Yes. We are interested in knowing if you happen to notice a scuffle in the alley behind your shop earlier today.
Yes, I assumed it was simply a disagreement I didn't investigate. I heard...
What can you tell us about that?
I believe the watch pulled away some very poorly injured half-orc. We don't usually have muggings, but he seemed like he worked for a noble house. I'd have had some coin on him.
So you didn't see the scuffle, you just seen him take away after the scuffle happened.
Yes, he came. They came by, asked if we'd seen anything, actually, and I gave them the same answer I gave you. I heard scuffle, but didn't see much. And you can tell she's half asleep. She has, like, her corset pulled on and over her nightgown, just for some semblance of...
we understand that you have a basement door that opens onto the alley, and
we haven't used the basement for anything. It's usually it came with the shop, but we boarded up the door on this side. I don't think I've ever been down there. Not since we got the shop.
Do you mind if we have a look just for our peace of mind?
Sure. I suppose yeah. And she kind of heads out. There's a separate door for a separate entrance for upstairs, and she kind of leads you to the main shop, lets you in. And there's a back door down to the basement. You have to shift around a few racks of clothing, and she kind of looks at Greta to help with that, because you have some muscle and they're kind of heavy and probably got moved in by a couple of people. But yeah.
So does it look like the door's been
blocked?
Been used at all? Or?
No, there's a
not
heavy,
from the shop side.
Yeah, not from the shop side. There's a heavy shelf in front of it. They probably got placed there because, as a way to, just as a place to put it. They weren't using the basement anyway, and placement, it seemed fine to put it there up as fine as up against any wall. But yeah, it leads down. There's a set of stairs, a lot of dust. Since
any sign of recent activity? Any tracks or drag marks?
No footprints. This is
like
an inch of dust. It's if someone had gone through here, it would have.
So the entire basement's got like an inch of dust.
Well, this half of it you could go down if you wanted.
Oh yeah, I'm going down.
Yeah.
All right. There are several barrels. They smell slightly rancid. Whatever was in them was probably stashed here before the tailor shop opened up years ago, and I've been sitting here ever since. A few random crates. They have dishes in them. Nothing much.
So, so no indication that anyone came in from the alleyway or
No.
might have used this to temporarily cache
No.
Theron.
Okay, so that pretty much seals it. Then he was taken out.
Yeah. There is some disturbance, but you can tell it's a day or two old at least. So people have been using it occasionally for this or that, but probably not today. So, and you can kind of see there's a covered crate in the corner that's been stashed here. And you uncover it, and there are these small vials of liquid, and they look suspiciously like a new narcotic that's been going around locally. But yeah, it hasn't accessed for at least a few days.
Any value in taking some of these along with us?
I mean,
future use.
It's just a mild euphoria. Apparently.
Is it illegal?
Yes. The watch has been cracking down on the use. They tend to be suspicious of any recreational narcotics that aren't basics like alcohol or tobacco.
Is the lady of the place is there, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And as you open that up, she kind of goes wide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and starts backing away. And you can tell she had no idea this was down here, and she is, oh god, they found drugs in my house and they're not mine, and I don't know what to do about this, kind of backing away. Like, she might have suspected that people were using it for questionable activities, but and you can see there are some stains that might indicate that, but she had no idea there was this down here.
So how are they getting in?
The door, there's a door to the outside.
Yeah.
It open and
Right,
close.
the alley door.
Oh, I thought the door was.
No, that was to the
Upstairs. Yeah, there's two
down.
doors. One that goes out to the street. One that goes up to the upstairs in the shop. The one to the shop.
My question would be, why would you not board up the outside door?
I mean, they probably figured it wasn't important. Like, they're not using the space anyway. It probably was one more thing when they're setting up the shop.
But at the same time, you're setting up a shop, and you don't board up the outside door to get back way into your building.
Well, if they blocked it from their side, it's blocked from their side. They would, it's a very heavy shelf. There's, it would be probably didn't think of it, and might make them irresponsible, but it's
I say to the lady of the
stupid.
house, it would be wise for you to
Report.
let the authorities, the city guard, know about this, that someone's been secreting illegal things in your basement, and once they get this out of here, it would be good for you to secure the door for your own safety.
Yes, I hadn't thought of. It seemed an unused space. Maybe some people would take shelter here or other stuff, but I didn't suspect anyone would do it for this.
Well, now you know. Guys, let's go get some sleep. Or gals, I guess. Gals,
Yeah.
let's go get some sleep.
Yeah.
Right, we might as well now, because we know we're going to be trying to figure out.
Yeah. So, yeah,
We're
you
going to
guys...
be back to square one, pretty much. We know somebody took him in a cart, but where they got him to, we don't know.
True. Yeah, so the next day dawns, morning happens, the sunrise sets, and you guys have gotten some sleep. You said you were staying at the Gynax Manor, and Almi was staying at the temple, or near it, to avoid suspicion. That was your plan?
Yes.
So, yeah, and I'm guessing you probably would head up to Gynax Manor first thing in the morning, or...
Yes.
Alright. So, three of you, it's morning, you have a dinner party tonight, which will probably put you in direct contact with, and actually, you could probably go to the tailor, that might be a good place to go to get something reasonable to wear. Although the Gynerk might lend you clothes out of her own closet. That'd be kind of difficult for Greta, but
I was gonna say, how am I gonna get clothes then?
you do have a dress that was that is relatively nice. That was it was had the Gynerk had it made for you when you pledged allegiance to her, as opposed to and forswore the slavers and came into her service. It's not anything really fancy, but it's relatively nice. Yeah. If you wanted something that would, it's restrictive. If you wanted something fancier, you could absolutely go for.
I think at least one of us should get an outfit from the tailor, just to maintain that contact and also sort of allay suspicions as to why we were there at 9:30 at night or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's very fair. You
maybe
probably have
Greta. Maybe Greta could go to the tailor. Since she might need something special. I'll see if I can borrow a dress from Theron's sister, and that would kind of give a pretext for me to be there, and presumably, she would have something that I could borrow, and
maybe
I'd like
you're
to.
not quite that different in size. Yeah, you're not vastly different in size. You could, it's gonna fit differently, but she looks at you like you're crazy, but you are a well-respected priestess, and she did. You were with her husband, and she kind of probably gets that something going on here, but so she does let you in. And yeah.
I just explained to her my predicament as a priestess. We don't really have, so many fancy clothes, and we aren't often invited to, nice dinners like the one tonight. So I'm really excited about going and want to look nice.
Yeah.
And not just show up in my travel boots.
Good to know. Yeah. She kind of I would say she does ask you, do you support the Despotrix?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Like as a character, I'm assuming that Osprey doesn't have any problems with the Despotrix.
No.
Is that true?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The priesthood of Osprey is well respected in the city.
Okay.
And understanding, there's ties. You obviously knew you were in the Gynaxy sphere of influence. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So my response is, yes, of course. She's a respected leader and has ruled the city well.
Kind of gives a nod. Good to know. And she will pull out a few. Hold out a few of the. She picks you some good ones. And says, "Well, you could tie it a little bit." She's a little wider set than you, especially after her first pregnancy. She never lost all the weight, so she's kind of, a little broader in the shoulders anyway. But she says, "Well, this one was meant to fall half-length, so you could wear it a little ankle and then tie it back."
That would be wonderful. This is lovely.
Yeah.
It matches my eyes.
Yeah. And yeah, so now have a blue dress.
Yeah. So I make small talk with her,
Yes.
about the dinner and people that might be there and what's been going on recently. And
Yes, and she kind of asks you, you do intend to help my brother, yes? I'm not stupid. I know something befell him.
Absolutely, we're gonna we're going to ask some questions, and perhaps someone at the party may have seen or heard about what he's been up to. Hopefully he's fine. I'm sure he is.
All right. Good. And she kind of gives you a nod, and you are seen together, but to kind of escort you out, and you do have a dress that's appropriate for it, and you do know a little bit more about that. I had her roll figure a person out, and she got a very high one, so I figured she could ask you some pointed questions and get some answers. And, but yeah, you head out, and because she kind of understands that it's not really necessarily just that you need a dress, because there's plenty of places you could get a dress in the city, especially if you have the backing to this Patrick's. Yeah.
Just trying to play all the angles here.
Yeah. Oh, we have Sig in chat. We actually have people in chat. That's nice. Hi. But yes. Yeah, so you get, you get head out, and you, during the day, Greta, you do go to the tailor's, and you do notice that there's a few members of the watch there, and construction, a couple of women overseeing, like 3 guys boarding up the door. So they did take your advice to heart.
Excellent.
And so yeah, Kaylor kind of, he looks at you and is like, you are very tall, but I think I could do something with a little bit of drape. Do a lot of fabric, but given that, I think I can manage. And yeah, and you do have a little discretionary fund from the Miss Patrick's for expenses, and you don't really spend much of it, so you could get, and he probably will give you a steep discount because, but he, because his wife probably told him what went down last night, and he does not like the fact that someone was using the basement of his shop they didn't know about to stash drugs. But he makes you, whatever kind of pretty dress that you want. Probably something with he'll give you, he'll hook you up with pockets to stash stuff in if you want, which I possibly could be useful. He could give you, you have a long sword, you could probably get some way to sheath it that would be, so you could have it with you on, probably, maybe even like a leg sheath to do it discreetly if you wanted to go armed. That would not be a show of good faith, but you're also dealing with a possible Scarlet Brotherhood connection, so your call, if you want to go armed or not.
Well, I'm definitely going armed.
Alright, so you can go armed, obviously, or discreetly. Because, it is very possible if you're hand-making a dress to conceal weapons. Barb actually did a really cool thing on it. And then you would have something that would be easy to access knife, and then you'd have the sword kind of, it would take a while to get out, but you could get a knife quick.
No, I don't think I would be that discreet about it.
Alright, so you're just gonna wear your regular old scabbard.
Something, because
the half ogre at the dance.
Well, that's just it. You got a half ogre at a dance. That's wearing a nice dress and maybe like a nice little overcoat that might go with the dress.
Cloak.
That would help kind of conceal the sword a little bit too.
Yeah, and so you have kind of it belted on, and then have a secondary layer that goes over, kind of like a bustle almost. Right. That could be removed easily. It's like tied in the front, but like you could pull it. You could probably pop the strings actually, because it's they're not that thick, but something that it, like nice overlay, and then you just pull it off and have this. I'd still have a dress underneath and a sword, if you needed to.
That's what I was thinking. Like a nice little
Yeah,
overcoat that I could just fling off if I needed to.
and it's a little bit of sleeve on it because it is, it's getting cold. It's early ready wheat, and it's not cold. Not in Hardby, but
Autumn.
yeah. And probably like autumnal colors too, as a palette of the season.
Make me purty.
Yeah, actually, you do look good, and
Greta, you're just beautiful.
I mean,
You
it
dress
is
up well.
a really nice dress, and if you kind of helps you fit the corset too, so it in a more usually just do it quick overlay to for support, because it is a support is a really useful thing if you have boobs, but a quick lace corset for support is very different than a under a little bit of shaping to and the neckline does drape dramatically, and if you shape it right, it you can nothing tight. I would imagine you don't want to be able to have your breathing restricted, but something that pops the breast a little, flattens it out, and then you have like a décolleté kind of look going.
Right.
Looks good. But yeah, you're set up with a dress, and then kind of the little over, like 3/4 length sleeves that had drapes mostly around the skirt, and then a tie that you could break easily if you needed to run somewhere, access the sword. Something like that. And also a loop, as a practical feature, a loop that could be pulled up so that you could pull the skirt up to knee length. And it's a little shorter in the back because you have the drape over that. So if you pulled it off and then buttoned it up in the front, you can have something that would let you not trip when you're running.
Right. So Phoenix and Greta, so having gotten our clothes now, is there anything else we can do before the dinner to gather some additional information or get some additional leads?
I mean,
we needed to go to the Despotrix.
yes.
Give her an update?
I mean, yeah, you would. She was expecting an update after dinner party, but if you have information, yes, it would actually be quite prudent, I would imagine.
I think that
after the
makes
dinner
sense.
party?
Yeah, because that was the one thing that she had no idea that Darren was missing or any of that.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. We should at least let her know so she's privy to it, and if she may, through her sources, have other information that might help us do a better job for her this evening at the dinner.
But I got to get my hair done.
That's right. What about my pretty nails?
I could do that by myself,
You could.
right? Because I'm her heir, so I could just go.
Yeah,
That would
she'll
be less
absolutely make
suspicious.
time, squeeze a few things in for you
That,
if you want to go.
That makes sense, Phoenix. Yeah, maybe you go and Almi and Greta will kind of putter about and get ready and so forth,
Yeah.
but it would allay any suspicions. We don't have 3 people trooping up there every couple hours.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Greta's right nearby, and it wouldn't be too suspicious. Almi is newbie and was summoned once. As of just one of you, either one of you going to see wouldn't be unusual, both at the same time, along with Phoenix, is definitely indication that something's going on.
Yeah, let's just let Phoenix do that and, report all our information and download anything that the Despotrix may be able to add to the puzzle.
Right.
Yeah, so she does have a break in the meetings in the afternoon, and as soon as, if she hears you want to see her, she'll absolutely let you come, and it's usual audience time, so... But yeah, you come into the audience chamber, and she kind of lets you, Phoenix, kind of, and she looks at you over and says, I'm guessing this isn't a social call.
Yes. We have some news to report.
Oh?
And at this point, I'll just relate everything that's happened up to, well, the previous night. I'll just recap that for her.
And she kind of blinks. Oh, my, Theron was, he was a suitor of yours, yes?
Yes, and one I was rather am somewhat fond of. Would very much like for him not to come to any harm.
Yes, the family was...
Hopefully he has not.
Yes, indeed. His family was well respected in Relastra and then fell out of favor with the shakeup of in Roxas and came eastward. His mother is fairly well represented in local politics. She's not unheard of. His sister, I believe... Well, he has two, I think. Living with the younger of the two, I believe, as a prelude to marriage or something. Yeah, it's a prelude to marriage. It'd be unseemly for him to live alone, but I believe he's staying with his sister as a chaperone. Have you spoken with her?
We haven't. Yes, we've spoken with her. We have not let her know. We've tried to not tell anyone what we know or what we suspect.
Probably prudent. It would do to be careful, doubly so. Perhaps a well-placed dagger. I'm sure you are maybe not to be seen with a sword, or he would probably suggest that you peace bind it. Although, Corbin would...
Something ceremonial, perhaps?
Yes.
A jeweled case? Yeah.
Yes.
Scabbard?
Yes, I know your sword is rather... you favor a practical but beautiful weapon, and I think that could be rather ridiculous. I don't think Greta would be... they might be more interested in peace bonding her weapon, but... especially given where it came from. Also, I should warn you, Travis has been... he doesn't intend to marry her, which I think is... she's not from Hardby. Was formerly a slave, actually. She's a nice enough young woman. I've briefly met her, actually. Though he didn't introduce me to her, which is suspicious in and of itself.
What of this new acquaintance of his? Do you have any additional information?
She's living in the city. They're living in sin, I think is the term, although hardly more I'd worry too much about. Yes, I would say that Greta's sword is a distinctive one taken from the slavers. So it was a design that they often used. You still have it because you were working for them. Same sword. So anyone who had too much contact with the slavers would recognize it as that kind of weapon. But you're known as a turncoat who helps the despotrics, helped take them down. So, kind of from within. So, it's not necessarily a big deal, but it is noticeable. And if she was formerly a slave, it does have nefarious history to it. Greta was a slaver, worked for the slavers at some point, but
well, perhaps it'll be a topic of conversation at the dinner then.
Oh, possibly, depending on how things go. But yeah,
I think we need to pay particular attention to this friend of Travis's.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's our best lead.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, you... yeah. She bid you, do be careful. I know you should wear your sword, but I really would hope you wouldn't have to use it.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, you kind of she kind of dismisses you with a bow, with a kind of nod. If you because she has another someone else seeking audience as well. But yeah, you I'm guessing report back on that.
Okay.
Yeah, she hadn't heard anything of the disappearance, but you know.
Yeah.
So we're at 10 o'clock. Do we want to take a quick break?
Yes, I was going to suggest that. 10 minutes, 5 minutes? What do you guys think? 10?
I don't care.
Okay. Why don't we try back by 10 minutes if back sooner. I don't have any water in my glass because I was struggling last minute, so I need to fix that. Yeah.
Excellent. Talk to you in 10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me switch the screen over here. I'm going to leave my mic hot, but not yours, if that's... Okay. Here we go. Alright, I will see all of you in 10 minutes. Everyone, take a chance to stretch and all that. We'll see you back here.
Please, we'll be right back, screen.
Don's back.
No, I'm just reading chat now.
Mine's blank. Is there a different channel that the chat is on aside from Zoom?
No, yeah, I'm on Lee's actual uh, Twitch stream,
I see.
and
So what was funny? What did someone say?
well, somebody jumps in and says, "And now a word from our sponsors. Do you own a car? Do you not have private insurance? Blah blah blah."
That's cute. Great American Biscuit Company, right? Cute. Well, hopefully something will come to light at this dance because we seem to be coming up empty.
Yeah, the finding out where he went to that's the toughest part of the whole thing because we still have no clue exactly where he's at.
Right.
So
right.
it's got to be some clue has to be at this dance.
Exactly. Hopefully we'll be able to smoke it out.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else is back.
Yes. Don's here and Biggie's here.
Okay.
Got your water now, Lee?
Yes, I have water. I actually
All right.
ate breakfast, which had some cereal.
Wow, you're
cereal
quick.
because I hadn't had breakfast this morning. Yeah, I ate as much as I could. So, we're just waiting on Dan.
Yes.
Okay, cool. But, yeah. Game is going well so far.
Yeah. We're hoping some new clues come to light at the dance because we
Yeah.
seem to be kind of coming up empty.
Yeah. There's some. Nah. Oh, that's too. I could have. It's a thought. I could have earned ads and then there wouldn't be any for anyone. Well, I think that's how that works. But. Yeah. Twitch chat has been popping, sort of. I mean, that we have any at all is kind of impressive. Also, hi all, Twitch chat. You can hear me, but not the players. Because that's how I set up the audio for this. The screen says, please be patient, we're gathering the players now. But it's just the break string I have.
I know
Probably
when I seen that, I started chuckling. I'm like, wait a minute, gathering your players.
Yeah, it's what I throw up, if, you know, we were, you know, if I need to, it's right on, and I need to go live, and I'm, but don't have everyone yet, but yeah. But yeah, I had just gotten it set to go live when then I finally got Dan, so I was like, alright, well. Alright. Okay. I mean, so, since we're here, I don't have shoutouts ready yet, but, you can, if you want to put in the chat socials, causes you want to push. I know I have the charity live stream coming up next weekend, but, you know, we could put the Twitch chat in the, I believe it has the, I don't have it set, you need to be mod post links, so you could if you wanted to. No pumpkin carriage. They are, they can. You can get a really nice coach if you want. Because, yeah, as the Despotrix is there, you have, and, she's funding this whole thing. I mean, Greta's dress is very fall-colored, but, yeah, it is ready. I'm sure there are pumpkins around. Although, since Greyhawk...
And it's only fall-colored because it tripped and fell.
Only fall-colored, tripped and fell. No, you're not. I found, I was trying to find people who weren't usually in the channel, often in the channel, for various, things, and I wanted to find people who weren't usually in the channel to, play. Next week is a fundraiser game for Trans Lifeline, and it's very exciting, and I'm giving my players at least 6 magic items, and then 1 more for every $5 donated, so, they're gonna have, by the end of it, hopefully, if, they're just going to be, laden down with all of the magic items, some of them useful, some of them useless, some of them, but yes, it is going to be an exciting time. Phantom NJ is actually in that game, and Twy and, a good friend of mine, from steampunk circles. But, yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Please come back. Would be very... Oh, you are back. I didn't notice you were back.
Shall we get going?
You were very quiet.
Sneaky.
Very sneaky. Okay, now that you're back, we can do the thingamabob. Sorry, we were waiting on you, and so, nope, it's this one, and then we hit the back to that one. There we go. Hello, everyone. Now they can hear you, too, and see everyone. Hi. Welcome. Yeah, if I'd known you'd come back earlier, I would have had the screen up earlier. But yes, I was watching chat. Welcome, everyone, back. We have probably a few new people. We have a lot of players right now. So, yeah, welcome. We have 3 intrepid heroes, one of whom is the heir to the Spotrix, one of whom is a young cleric, who's kind of gotten pulled in to be the wise emotional support at this point, and in case, someone gets hurt, because they very well might. And also the bodyguard, the muscle of the group, Greta Gutplate, who is a half-ogre, who now has a really pretty dress. So that's cool. They're going to a dinner party, and held by one of the Despotrix's younger sons, because his older brother has been colluding with someone who is believed to be Scarlet Brotherhood. And that is, not a good look. So the younger brother is like, I know, we'll hold a dinner party and try to suss out the details. And she's sending you in as spies, informants, see what you can find out. Hoping it doesn't go sideways. I'm not going to say it will go sideways, but, and Phoenix is, not fiancé, but a suitor of hers, well-liked, very kind, and, garish young man has gone missing. Was kidnapped, probably. And, yeah, sort of. More like a muscle of the thing, but yeah, kind of. She proved to be very solid last time. And if they'd had, Sir Calden in, I would have had him play Nelf. She's got more social graces than that. But yes, you guys are all set. You have a coach from the Despotrix. It's rather nice. And you are all set to go to the fancy dinner party.
Excellent. Let's be on our way.
Okay. So yeah. When you get there, you notice that you recognize the distinctive coach that that Travis, your cousin, likes to keep. He's about 10, 15 years older than you, but a generation up. Her sister, this Patrick's sister, had kids much earlier, and that's her daughter was originally the heir apparent. As Miss Patrick's herself realized she was having all sons, and but she since passed away, leaving Phoenix as one of the few women in the family who close. Yeah, but yeah. So so they're about 10. Travis is, I think, 17 years older than you, and the other brothers, Corbin, who's hosting, is about 11 years older than you. Both still unmarried, but what are you gonna say?
Current year
is 580. So pre-Greyhawk Wars, but not completely pre. Things are starting to heat up with the Greyhawk Wars. Like it's about to break out. No one knows this, of course, but it's this Patrick's. The Gynarchy is still not under the control of Greyhawk, independent from it, and is hoping to stay that way. Greyhawk does not like that, because 50 years ago they had some control before the dissolution of the Landgraft and. As part of a shakeup in Roxas, I believe. And they are trying to get that back. There's a lot of political tension. Scarlet Brotherhood is... they haven't, started all the wars yet, but they are known to be a problem and are looking to cause problems for their own nefarious, purposes, which, Only you know that a lot of people, even the very proud Sulois people in the town who aren't, part of Ridian or whatever, don't really like the Scarlet Brotherhood. Like, yes, the Suel Empire fell, but you don't need to recreate it. You can still keep your culture and not recreate the Empire. So a lot of them don't really like the Scarlet Brotherhood much. So... You guys.
So we see Travis's coach.
Yes.
Are there guards there? There are many people.
There's a few guards
with
on the outside.
An entourage.
Yeah, a few guards. He has a bodyguard who is, kind of there. Like a quarter orc, I believe, by the name of Theron.
Better than Goran.
Yeah.
Like the Barney Fife of personal guards.
That's harsh.
They're, who's, doing the whole... Being, he gets to the table, but he's very quiet. There's a few guards, household guards, around... being the son of this Patrick's, it's not... Corbin has his own estate. A lot of men don't, but Corbin does. And he has been set up here. It's a nice place, not like grand, but certainly well-appointed house, worthy of a noble. And, a handful of guards, a few hounds that are kind of patrolling the area, and a footman who kind of looks at you, and graciously gestures you in. And Corbin does come to greet you. He looks worried, and he kind of hesitates, and, kind of bows to Gretel, comes to give you a hug, Phoenix, and whispers in your ear, "We need to talk. Things are going sideways. Things are, I don't want to speak with Travis here, but, he kind of gives you a squeeze. It's good to see you, cousin. Please come in. And you, I believe, was you are a priest of Osprey, I believe. Almi, I believe, was the name.
That's
given?
correct, Your Grace. Thank you for remembering.
Yes.
I'm honored.
He gives you a smile. Well, I am certainly, you certainly are quite a beautiful lady.
Thank you, and I bow.
He kind of returns the bow and leads you into this, the dining room. There's a few trays of, like, cheese set out, and people are sitting around the table talking. There is, there you have, Travis, his bodyguard, Farron. You have, his, lady friend, and you have Corbin. You have the seats. You have four empty seats, and four empty seats. Kind of gestures. The one directly to his right is reserved, but he gestures on the three on his left as place for you. Or rather, the one on his left is empty, and the three on his right, with probably Phoenix sitting directly there, and then the other two next to her. Although you can sit in any, that would be, you would guess, the proper etiquette place. But you can mix it up if you want.
Just go with the flow. Don't want to elbow ourselves to a higher place at the table than we're supposed to be.
Well, right hand of the host is generally pretty high up. But yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We sit somewhere, or I sit somewhere down the table.
Yeah.
Do we see Travis's friend?
Yes, he is sitting on the other side. It's a pretty small table. Yeah, he's on the other side, right next to the empty seat, actually. Well, he has his body. His bodyguard is on next to Farron, and he has a human bodyguard, actually, who's but very clearly some muscle. Who's Sulois very clearly as well. There's a distinctive features, that point out Sulois, and most people have kind of mishmash features because it's been a number of generations since anything. So, but
About Travis's lady friend, what is her appearance? Does she look Louise? Or?
No. She looks kind of Bacloonish, but probably not like directly Bacloonish. She's she does have and you, Greta, you do recognize her. You saw her on one of the slaving ships that went through that part. She came through the markets, and yeah.
So is it somebody I disdain, or is it somebody that I?
No, that you've wronged probably. She was a slave on your ship.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she reacts viscerally in a little bit of fear. She might not directly recognize your face, but there aren't a lot of half ogres in the city, and yeah, and there are a lot more half ogres working for the slavers than there are generally in Hardby, and she covers it up very quickly, but you can see her knuckles tighten a little bit, but she kind of nods. You're actually on her side of the table. You could go next to her, or you could all meet between you, the two of you, depending on what you want to do.
Let's try to spread ourselves with other people between us, so we can talk to more people?
Well, there's the three. They're already seated, so there's the 3 chairs set out for you.
Okay, so we already have a place assigned to us, more or less?
Well, yeah, because
Okay.
everyone's already sitting at the table.
Sounds good. Take a seat.
All right, are you sitting next to her?
I can do that, yes.
All right.
So,
It'd probably be a good idea if I don't sit next to
I was
her.
going to say, yeah, Greta would probably be, like, be a little awkward.
Yeah,
Intimidation factor through the roof.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have Farron at the far end of the table. You have Corbin at the head of the table, Farron at the tail of the table. You have an empty seat directly to the left of Corbin.
Not Theron at the head of the table, right?
Travis?
Corbin, yes, Corbin at the head of the table.
Corbin, okay.
And
Corbin and Travis.
yes, Farron at the tail of the table. Then you have on one side, to his left, you have the empty seat. You have Travis, his new friend with the weird the Scarlet Brotherhood vibes. You have the 2 bodyguards for them. You have well, actually Farron. Yeah, you would have Farron at that there, and Corbin's bodyguard at the very edge. Then you have on the other side you have the young woman, and you have 3 empty seats for you to sit. Yeah, it's kind of divided by gender.
Theron's not there, right?
Theron, no, Theron is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Theron is not there.
Okay. You were throwing us for a loop there because
Yeah, I gave him similar names.
uses the table.
Yes.
It's like, wait a
No.
minute. We've been looking all over for you.
is sitting
Where were you
across.
the other night?
Actually, yes, it's
Mystery
sitting.
solved!
Where the hell have you
Yeah, no.
been?
Theron is sitting across from Almi, actually. A quarter orc, decent looking, very much a, livery and the bodyguard, and very much a ready to throw hands. It's not it's not meant to be a violent meeting, but there is a air
So-
of.
Do
Especially-
I recognize everyone there except for the
Yeah,
for
you would.
Travis's friend?
Yeah, well, you would. Yeah, him and his bodyguard are new, and the young woman you've heard of her, but you never you haven't seen her before. She's relatively recent. Travis doesn't like the idea of marriage. Not because he has any particularly aversion to female company, but because he doesn't like the idea of a political match and not his own political power. It kind of rubs him the wrong way. So he generally tends to turn down any suitors who would be worth would be appropriate for diplomatic marriage, and in favor of the daughters of wealthy merchants and other such companions who. And there's been a number over the years. None of them are particularly onerous, but likely his new woman on his arm is not unusual.
So, if it's appropriate, as I'm sitting down, I'll address Travis. Say, Travis, you seem to have brought some guests. Would you care to introduce me?
And he kind of looks up. Yes, certainly, cousin. This is Amara. Kind of gestures, and she kind of gives a nod. Lovely young woman.
Mm-hmm.
And Aiken, a good friend. And Corbin kind of nods. I thought it would be appropriate to get to know some of the people in Travis's life, as and I thought it would be good to have a little bit of a family dinner.
Aiken?
And
Is that right?
Hmm.
The foreigner who came to Hardby recently that's Travis's friend is called Aiken?
Aiken, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you would know. I mean, it's a common Bacloonish name, something like George. Like, it's enough that you know a couple.
You did not just make a George Clooney reference there, did you?
No, I did not need to. No, but yes, it is a common enough name. Not anything you know.
It's a Bacloonish name, but he's Sewell?
No, a Sewell's name. A Sewell name.
Okay, so
Amara is a rather Bacloonish sounding name.
Okay.
But
All right. I was confused too. So it's a Sewell name.
a Sewell name, yes. I might have misspoke. Yeah, it's a Sewell name. Fairly common Sewell name.
and he wouldn't know Almi or
No, probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the Aiken you knew from growing up. It is, and he nods politely. You notice he didn't give a last name for either of them. For Amara, it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really have. She's not family ties, but but for Iken, it's sort of a little suspicious that he's hanging around so much with someone. You also note that there is a seat directly to your host's left, which is empty.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'll gesture at the empty seat and say, "Were you expecting someone else?"
Well, Ormil couldn't make it tonight. He's not feeling well. Ormil he's from a solidly middle-class family. His father was a scribe, and his mother was, a well-known clerk. And, she worked for the Patrick's, not unheard of. But he certainly has no noble blood or anything. He started working as a personal assistant for Corbin years ago, and it's kind of understood that they're extremely close, and how close exactly is, it's kind of not spoken about because but Corbin hasn't married, and it's kind of understood, but if he was from a noble family, maybe they could have something a little more official, maybe not a marriage, but because he's not, it's kind of an unspoken agreement. And he, of course, would be invited, even with status, but he's not. And very obvious omission, unusual. Like, you don't see the two of them apart, ever. They haven't had a fight yet, so far. That might change, though. They're sitting with a Scarlet Brotherhood, a prominent member of the Scarlet Brotherhood. Maybe not prominent, but he's displaying the little lapel pin, and you see it on Iken's. He has a fairly nice waistcoat with the pin, and yeah.
So I'll turn to Aiken and say, Aiken, are you new to the city?
He said, yes, over the past few weeks, and your cousin has been nice enough to show me the ropes of the city.
I see.
It's good to have the backing of such a prominent figure.
Oh, backing for what? A business interest?
Of sorts, yes. More of a social interest.
Oh, perhaps we can talk more about that. I find it very interesting when newcomers come to Hardby and have interesting impressions.
I see. You get a kind of slimy vibe from him. And then he kind of gives a nod.
Mm-hmm.
And Corbin is like, says, "Oh, I think it would be prudent to bring out the first course now that we have most of our guests." And Travis kind of gives a little smirk. "Your assistant isn't here." And Corbin kind of clears, "Yes, he's feeling poorly and under the weather." And Lincoln kind of raises one eyebrow. "Assistant?" And Travis is smirking, and he says, "Yes, my brother is overly close with an assistant of his." and kind of nods. And Corbin kind of glares at him. They have, you can tell they're brothers. They have a sort of a little bit of a rivalry going on. Maybe. But yes. So they bring out the first course, soup. And they talk about, the ships that come in. Aiken mentions that he sailed in on a ship from the Free City. There's a few that sail in. And, that came through. And he says, he's comes to the city from Hardby. He's from, what's the name? The peninsula. His name I'm blanking on, but you guys would know.
Thilronian?
I believe so, yes. He mentions that's where he was born, and you know that it is known as it is the Tilnot Peninsula. A little bit of south of Sundi. He mentions I'm from south of Sundi. The Tilnot Peninsula, probably haven't heard of it. And traveling around for business interests in Crow Trellup.
Quotrup?
Yes, it you know it's a large city, not the capital, but it is a large city, vaguely far. There's some trade going mostly to Onwall. Hang on. Yeah, Woolly Bay. Yes, so there's mostly trade from there to Onwall. But they do bring a few things up from Onwall. So you've heard of it from some Onwallian sailors as a exotic destination where certain things come from. But yeah, it seems vaguely familiar as a far-off city that you've heard about. So it wouldn't be unusual for necessarily the business interests there would like maybe to cut out the middleman. It's a long trip by sea, but not so long you couldn't make it, presumably. Yeah. It's
Tell me
far
more
to the
about the
south.
sights you've seen here in Hardby. I'm new to the city as well, and love to meet with people and learn more about the town.
Oh, it's a lovely city. Many very nice things. There's actually a monument to the founder. She was a wizard from Safeton, I believe. There's a statue of her. It's actually quite nice.
Excellent. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Yes.
Any other? I mean, does he talk about who he met with or places he visited or?
Yeah, he talks a
particular
little
matter?
about certain things. He mentioned that Travis had been introducing to men of the city, in the social circles, and mentions the lounge by name and
I've been
What
to that
is,
lounge. That's a very nice spot.
Mhm.
Have you visited it?
the lounge. Yes, we go there quite often.
That's an exciting place to be with all the games and lots of folks having fun and interacting.
Kind of glances. It's unusual that women would take interest in such things.
I love learning new things.
Hmm.
It's exciting.
I'm sure.
I travel quite a lot with my work with Osprey, so I've been on trips to and from Onwall at times. It's a beautiful but long journey.
Really? I've actually came to Greyhawk from Onwall originally. Through Hardby, but did not stop the first time.
How did you find business in Greyhawk?
Yeah, he considers it for a minute. There's a lot of trade there, but it is it all flows through Hardby, and I think the traders there are looking for alternatives.
I'm sorry.
that's-
What, you must have mentioned. I must have not caught it. What did you say? You trade in what goods?
Oh, various things. I represent a group of merchants in the in Kroll Trelp, the Guild of Merchants. So,
Oh, I see.
yes.
Which guild of merchants?
Seafarers Guild.
Is this somebody I would have recognized?
Um, not off the top of your head. You've heard of the Seafarers Guild. It's just a group that runs ships. A group of all merchants who trade by sea. I'm usually the on-wall. They do have legitimate business interests. They also have less legitimate business interests, but they try. And while the ships that do tend to be memberships, they don't usually advertise their membership as much, given. But yes, a lot of the member groups own secondary ships that they'd use for less savory business. But and a lot of those ships were operating actually near Hardby, up and down the Wild Coast, and they had come from there, but were deniable assets, as it were. But yes, you'd heard word of the Oceanfarers Guild before, but yeah.
With my greater familiarity with the sea, I'm trying to put together a question that would sort of test Aiken's truthfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know some captains or ships or lines of goods that I could pose a question to him that would, basically display that he's lying to us?
That's a good question. I would say, roll a plus wit.
Get 10 less 1, 9.
Ooh, yeah. You would know. You mentioned a couple of the captains from Onwall, well-known captains from Onwall, and he seems to. You mentioned a few who have died recently, and he didn't. Their deaths probably would be anyone who ran the Seafarers Guild would know, because they run trade back and forth, would probably have heard of the death several years ago. But someone who was only pretending to, or would have simply, or was lying about knowing them to appear to be more knowledgeable, would probably not have known that.
Right.
So he does not, but he is vaguely suspicious. And he asks you, what is your interest in trade in Onwell?
many seagoing vessels ply the oceans, and that's the province of my god, Osprey. May
True.
she be praised forever.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a follower as well?
Uh, not,
I ask naively.
yes. Um, 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 uh, um, no, I am more of a, um, uh, uh, more of a follower of, Zerbo, actually.
Interesting.
Yes. And you would know, so there are two gods of the sea. One of whom is Zorbo, and the other is Offspring. Zorbo being more of the merchanty side of sea, sailing, money, business. And Offspring being more of the...
Your chat is giving you some grief right now.
Huh.
Because your stream is more or less from your nose.
Well, okay, I dropped something, and I had to...
No,
So was I able to catch Aiken out with my question? Was I able to expose, or at least to myself, that he's not?
Yeah,
telling
he
the truth?
definitely is is probably not all that particularly
Blowing
business.
smoke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I suspected. I just wanted to confirm that he was just, you know, he was not legitimate. So I've been able to establish that he's, making it up as he goes. Okay, good. Thank you.
So while they're talking, I want to glance over at, was it Amari, her name?
Amara.
Amara.
Yes.
Just to sort of gauge how she's reacting, if she's reacting.
She seems to kind of be sort of following the conversation. She hasn't been saying much, but she hasn't been asked anything directly. She's kind of keeps glancing at Greta. Does not seem to be too comfortable with that, but is kind of putting on a good show of it. If asked directly, she'll kind of mention. I mean, no one's asked her directly about anything, but she's kind of. Sometimes people will ask her about her. She says she's from Zaif originally. Doesn't really talk. It does tend to be slight. It's hard to get a good angle for the camera. The way it's perched and the way I sit. But yes, she said she's from Zaif originally, and she hasn't been there in a while. She's kind of coy about what her past, other than she grew up in Zaif and hasn't been there. That she had to was forced out of Zaif and simply she says she misses it occasionally, but that she's found happiness here in Hardby. Kind of coy about exactly how that went down, but she doesn't say much about herself. Tends to redirect questions, give like short answers, redirect questions. And yeah. Yeah, so she gives quite quiet one-word answers. And we'll say Aiken will like offhandedly mention that he got a house in town and that he's been staying there, and she actually pipes up, "Oh yes, the one in the Merchants' Quarter, near the Pellin House. Quite nice." And you can kind of see he stiffens, and says, "Yes, it is. That's where it is. It is quite a nice city you have here. And I do intend to stay for a little bit. It would be more prudent to establish trade here than in Greyhawk, I think." And
Well,
he
best of luck.
kind of gives a nod. And she kind of picks up on the fact that he didn't want anyone to know what the house is and kind of tilts her head, but doesn't say anything. And toward the end of the night, they serve up several courses and then dessert. It's a little chocolate cake. And Corbin says, "I think if you'd like to come with me, I do have a musician. We can sit and talk some more." And he kind of gestures to a sort of sitting room. And he's, as everyone's kind of going there, Phoenix, he kind of pulls you aside briefly. And he says, "Oramel has been missing. I haven't seen him since this morning."
Yes. Theron is missing also.
Theron is in your, one of your suitors, right?
Yes.
The young one, from the old Relastron family, that a couple of generations back, that you said he's missing?
Yes. And we have reason to suspect. We have no proof, but
Of course not.
suspicions that Aiken is involved.
I would seem so. He's everything he says seems to be almost truth. It's such a far way. If he's true, they're sailing to Onwall. That's twice the distance to Onwall. That's an unreasonably far way to sail to establish trade routes. There'd be no reason for him to come up here if they're simply as Onwall the middleman, and if that's been working. Why? No, there's something going on. I don't know what.
And how do you think is it Orman fits into this?
Is it Corman?
Yes.
Sorry, as a DM, I don't know who.
Okay, the assistant.
Oh, Ormel.
Yes.
Ormel.
Ormel. Yes.
Yes, Ormel. Well, I don't know. He and you can see he's genuinely sad about this guy going missing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think he might understand my suspicions, and he sighs. I'm afraid he might be, because he was my, close to me. And he kind of sighs, and you got a sense, how close they are, and that it's probably more than just friendship, but also that because it's an unusual, it's not, homosexuality it's not exactly the norm. It's not necessarily penalized particularly, but it's still unusual, and combine that with the fact that his mother was a low-level clerk, his father a scribe, it's not socially acceptable, and but how much he means to your cousin, and and also that he doesn't really have, he has some clerking skills, but he's not anyone's particular in and of himself, other than that he works for the son of the Despotrix, a younger son too, not even the oldest son, or the son who has their younger brother who has a daughter. So that's a little bit of a player. She's young still, so you're but there is some question of whether she might inherit as well. But the Despotrix is growing old, and she might die before her granddaughter comes of age, so it's kind of a. But she's very, she's a younger cousin. She's nice enough, and you would certainly be set up in a powerful advisory role if that were to happen. So, you're.
Did Ormil have any run-ins with Aiken, or did he have any concerns or suspicions about the Scarlet Brotherhood?
He had. He was the one who first drew my attention. He's very well educated, and his parents are scribes. He mentioned the symbol. He was the one who first mentioned it, and I had of course been saying Aiken was questionable, and he mentioned the symbol, and that's when I knew I had to do something. And well, I asked my mother, and she said you could help, and then this happened, and now he's missing, and and he kind of we should be going in there, but if you could help me.
Don't worry, cousin. We will get to the bottom of this.
He kind of nods, and you do kind of sit, and it's they serve little cups of coffee, and they have a musician, and he plays flute, and it's kind of a sort of little concert to round out the night. And there is a little bit more mingling if you notice Amara stays as far away from Greta as she can. But since you're all like on these couches, you could switch up the conversations if you wanted to.
This is all me. I go over and sit by Amara. Tell me more about Zeef. I've never been there. I'm intrigued by faraway places.
And she kind of sounds longing. Oh, it's lovely. It's in the desert. But it's beautiful. Have you ever seen the desert sunset? And she sounds very wistful. And the buildings, they make the most beautiful buildings of sandstone. And there's a temple there to Isis, goddess of fate. And it's the most beautiful, with these gorgeous blue mosaics across the entire temple. And in the morning when the sun shines, it's blindingly brilliant.
Sounds so exotic. It's far to the north, isn't it?
To the
northwest, as I recall. It's kind of up at the
west, north.
North and west.
Yes, north and west.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not particularly, but mostly just west. Yes, to the northern part of, far west of here, beyond quite what you would call the Flanness, and the temples to El Akbar in the beginning of the city with the great catwalks, where they have calls to prayer, and it's beautiful. I miss it sometimes.
I bet. I can tell. I'd love to travel there someday. So, having grown up there, what do you find most interesting about this part of the world along the Wild Coast and in Hardby?
And she kind of sighs. Oh, it's the ocean. It's different here. The air around the ocean is different, and it's besides, it's wet. The air is wet. It's peculiar, and there's so much more fish. Not necessarily fish in Zaif. Not much. It's very different. And the food is different. We have what's called couscous. It's quite nice. I miss it. I haven't had it in ages. And the food is different. And it's nice here. And you can tell when she says it, she kind of means it. Yeah. She doesn't, like, she's trying to keep telling herself that.
Trying to convince herself. Well, being with Travis is certainly a notable companion. How did you two meet?
Oh, actually, it was Ekin who introduced us. When I first came to the city, I didn't know much of anyone. and I mostly kept to myself, he ended up befriending me and introduced me to Travis, and he's quite nice, actually. You have a nice family. I was thinking of marrying, but I understand it works differently here, and it would be uncouth of him to marry a woman who wasn't of a noble family, much more so than it would be if you had a sister, for you, for example, to marry a man of a lesser family.
I see. So how long have you been with Aiken?
Oh, only since he's been in the city.
So just so that I'm clear, so she met
Aiken
Aiken.
first. He came to the
She met
city
Aiken.
and made a point of befriending her, and then kind of
and
paired her
then
off with
introduced
Travis.
her Travis. Okay, got it.
So I'm gonna look at my two companions and then sort of stifle a yawn
Mm-hmm.
and make comments about how it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm tuckered out also.
The whole time Greta was just eating and then kind of sitting back and more or less watching, not really conversing, just more watching to see demeanor of everybody and how they're reacting to everybody, to see who's kind of...
Yeah. You notice
You know.
that Amara is avoiding you as much as possible. She's sitting very close to Travis, almost touching, and he kind of slowly puts his arm around her. You can see there is some chemistry there, although she seems hesitant to lean into him, as if she's kind of, reminding herself that this is something she wants. And as soon as she does, she kind of relaxes a little bit. Clearly there is some feeling, but there's other nesting intentions there. You notice that Ikin seems to be very, very annoyed with her for some reason. He's not saying anything openly, but you can tell he's definitely definitely, and that started, you notice, when she mentioned where the house was that he'd found in the city, which, is a weird. To be defensive of where you're living is a little weird. When you're in person in the same city, it is a little unusual. But and you notice that Travis, he kind of looks like a little, like, you're pretty sure he didn't know that exactly where the house was. But he didn't say, you saw like a micro reaction of like him tilting his head as if, oh, interesting. What else? Like, he's on the other side of Travis from Amara, and Omi is kind of on her, right next to Amara, trying to get her to talk about Zaif, and I'm guessing across from them, sort of up a little bit, and then Corbin and Phoenix are sitting next to each other, and then the bodyguards are kind of all like clustered right around where you are. They're doing the same thing of keeping an eye on things. Obviously, they're not expecting trouble, but that's kind of their job, is to keep an eye on things.
So I'll turn to Corbin and say, cousin, you've thrown a lovely dinner party, but my companions and I have had an eventful several days, and I think we may wish to call it a night a little early.
Of course. I completely understand. Do get home safely.
Of course.
And he'll walk you out, and he'll tell you, I don't know where they'd keep. I think Ormel's still. I have to hope that he's still alive. Do you have any reason to? You didn't find Theron's body, did you?
No.
Okay.
We think that they're probably taking the people prisoner who have become suspicious. So don't give any hints that you have any fears or concerns about Aiken or any developments that may be happening.
And kind of nods.
Right. Yeah. Don't draw any attention to the Scarlet Brotherhood or their jewelry. Anything that might cause them to want you to take you out of the way.
Yes. Same to be said. If you see my mother, tell her. You might mention that Ormel is missing. Just.
Of course.
I don't know if there's much she can do, but she might be able to help.
If you learn any new information, do let us know straight away.
Of course. But yeah, you can head out, and it is getting quite late.
So guys, or gals, do we want to, kind of hang close to the exit from Corbin's home here and hope to follow Aiken to wherever he goes, or do we want to go to his house and sort of stake it out there? What are your thoughts? Probably less risk to wait here and wait for him to leave and then follow. But
there is a note that if the coach doesn't leave, it would be slightly suspicious. But you could send the coachman back, and just kind of hang around.
Well, I think we can get in the coach.
Yeah, and then just sort
out of sight.
Right, just sort of wait and watch the exit gate.
Oh, like around the corner, kind of, and watch them come out.
Yeah, exactly. So when they come out, we could kind of hopefully inconspicuously kind of fall in behind them.
All right. Okay. I'll say yeah. Yeah, you can. You watch as they come out. Travis lingers to talk to his brother, and you see Amara and Aiken come out, and he doesn't hit Amara, but he grabs her wrist and he's saying something very sharp to her. His bodyguard kind of stands between him and Travis, so that Travis, if he looked back, might not see, like trying to block view a little bit. Farron does notice and kind of narrows his eyes. They're sizing each other up, but eventually, whatever he has said, he said his piece and does open the carriage door for her. Apparently they came separately than Amara and Travis, so they get in a separate coach. And Travis comes out and up, and you can see him kiss Amara, kind of in the back of, like from the back of the coach. You can kind of see him kissing Amara, and they drive off. And you recognize the route. They're going toward his estate, which is nearby. And then the other coach leaves, and they're going in the opposite direction. And
this is Aiken's coach.
Yes, Aiken's coach, and
is Aiken's coach heading towards his house, his part of town?
Yes, toward the merchant quarter where she mentioned the house was. So, yeah.
So we will follow that as discreetly as we can.
Okay. Okay. You managed to. No they don't seem to notice the coachman's kind of focused on not. You notice that Icken is in very intensive conversation with his bodyguard in the back of the coach. Unusually so, but they do disembark eventually, and you see the house. When they mention Perrin, the other merchant neighbors, you've actually met. A Herald's son is kind of another one of your suitors. He's not from enough of a family to really make him, and he's kind of obnoxious. But you know where the house is at least, and so yeah, you recognize it. This is the house they were talking about, and you notice that he heads around to check on something in the back, and then there's a secondary door. You do notice.
Aiken does?
Aiken does, yeah. He goes into a secondary door. It seems to be separated out from the main part of the house. And
Is his guard with him?
No.
Where did the guard go?
Straight in the front door.
Okay.
But yeah.
Might be worth a look-see.
Yeah.
Go follow him to the side door and...
Yeah.
You,
So yeah, you kind of step out of the coach and follow him as discreetly as possible.
right. Trying to be stealthy and inconspicuous in our dresses.
Yes. There's a hedge, actually, on the Pearl's land. Yeah, there is a hedge you could go along that would kind of block you mostly, especially if you... Not Greta so much, you'd kind of poke up above, but the other two you could crouch and, still walk at a reasonable pace. To be enough below the hedge, like it's 5 feet, so...
Any windows or other ways that we can look in or listen to what may be going on inside behind the side door?
You could kind of, when you see it, you see another, a robed figure, with a, one of the lapel pins, with the, robes and a holy symbol, actually a pair of, well, for lack of a better word, D8s kind of etched on, his, on the robes.
Okay.
But yeah, they kind of talk for a little bit, and you notice that his robes are kind of worn loosely over very dark clothing, and his face is visible, but you can kind of see a little bit of a looseness where you could pull it up and keep your face hidden.
Sort of a cowl.
A cowl, yes.
Cowl.
Yeah.
So these fellows are inside the house or outside?
Yes,
the house?
inside. In the
Inside,
doorway.
okay.
One of this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and they speak in hushed tones, and
Does the robed figure look Sewell?
yes, you can see very pale skin, the blue eyes. Yeah.
So what do you think, Phoenix and Greta? Do we try to approach, or it may be that both Theron and Aramel are inside the house behind that door somewhere?
I suspect they are inside the house, but if we could maybe ambush these two.
Right, confront them. Yep.
I think if we simply walk up to them, they'll try to flee, or call for reinforcements, or
Mm-hmm.
we could try to sneak into the house, but I don't know. That seems a little difficult.
Yeah,
I think maybe our best choice would be to jump these two now
right, while the door is open. Yeah.
while the door's open,
Oh,
and hopefully catch them by surprise. And
Mm-hmm.
all right.
What do you think, Greta?
So do we want to wait for them to come out and away from the house before we do it, or
It seems like, from what you can gather, that they're going to close the. That they seem to be walking in the doorway, and then Icken turns to leave. So he's probably going to go back, and this guy's going to stay in this part of the house. From what you gather, you have a split second.
The guy with the cloak is the one that's going to come out.
No,
of the
he's
house,
going to stay. Icken's going to go around, presumably to the front of the
Back
house.
to the front door.
But you have a split second then that you realize this. Oh, this is how they're doing things.
I say we make our move.
Yeah, if we're gonna do something, we got to do it now.
Okay. So I don't usually roll for initiative, but Sig has, because of the nature of this, has redeemed a reroll for Rishnev. So I will say you roll a plus wit. I mean plus grace. Sorry.
Grace?
Yes.
9.
Shoot.
Almy has a 9.
All right. It would be the highest among you, I would say.
I only have a 6.
Okay. Greta?
Yeah, I have a 3.
Okay. So
9 it is.
yeah, which basically makes you come out, and it can notice you and pulls a knife, and so combat here is kind of initiative is kind of thing. So what you would do is you could come, and then you each you pick your target, and then each person gets a move. As usually fight is that, although you could try to try some other stuff if you wanted, like to try to defy disaster, or depending on the circumstance, you could try other stuff. But usually when you have a battle, it's fight, and then you're trying to impose.
When he pulls out the knife, I pull out my sword and go, "That's not a knife. This is a knife."
And as soon as you pull it, he recognizes it. He narrows his eyes, and he seems a little afraid. Like, you're big, and you're pulling a sword, and this is
Almy is running full tilt as fast as she can to tackle this guy and hopefully knock him into the robe figure if she can. Just bowl him over.
Interesting. Okay.
Just full tilt.
All right. So I would say, if you have that plan, yes, I would say Phoenix. Since you got the highest roll, you would get first move.
Nope, I got a 6.
Almy got the 9.
I only got the 9. Well, then absolutely you got first move. So, your plan is to attack, which would be a fight. So yeah, roll either plus wit or plus daring or plus grace, depending on what you want to use.
Okay. Daring gives me a +1, so I'll be daring
Sure.
do here.
It's like strength or dex, basically.
Okay, 9 + 1 is a 10.
Oh, that's a 10 plus, which means, hang on, let me look at the cheat sheet, that you get anti-stagger fight. Okay, choose 3. So you can mess with your opponent mentally and gain a string, which can be used later to screw with them. You can inflict a condition. You can create an opportunity for an ally through prowess or distraction, or you can take something or seize a superior position. So you can kind of... So I would say you can impose a condition, which puts them on... one or the other of them can take one condition, which if they get enough conditions, they're simply down for the count. And that would be how you would defeat them. And then But you could also create an opportunity for an ally and seize high ground if you'd rather than inflict. Actually, you can choose 3, so you get to choose 3.
Thought he was just gonna tackle the guy.
Well, yes, but you can choose 3 consequences to impose on him, and he gets to choose to apply one of you in response.
Okay. So I'm in my mind. I'm envisioning. I'm running toward these guys. I grapple him, push him down, and into the robed figure.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be a condition. I
Yeah,
want
you
to
can inflict.
end up sort of pinning him to the ground if I can.
Yes, so that would be one wound.
One of the
Yes,
one of the
to which
3.
one of
So
them?
a condition.
Which
Yeah,
one of them do you
that's-
want to imply? Because
It's the through violence inflict a condition, right?
yes. So who do you want to
Okay.
inflict it on? Because you are pushing one of them into another. So
Aiken, yeah.
Aiken. Okay, Aiken takes 1. Interesting. They have each. Aiken takes 1. Okay.
Okay, and then there are 2 more conditions I can impose?
No,
Or
you
2
can
more
only
things?
take 1 each. So you can.
Okay.
But you can, create an opportunity to give someone a +1.
Okay. So
Or
I'm hoping that we knocked into the robed figure, and so maybe Phoenix and or Greta can, grab him by the nape of the neck and.
all right. So
do
you
it.
kind of shove the rope figure
Yeah,
out
just
a little bit. All right. And
full on tackle. Yep.
yep. And yes. So you're creating an option. So you can take an object. You could try to take his knife. I would say if you're trying to take a weapon, you would have to make a opposed check. Or you could give yourself advantage and get exactly where you want to go.
I guess I'd like to, kind of like they do in the movies, grab his wrist and knock the knife out of his hand. Kind
All
of
right.
slam his wrist or hand down against the floor and, knock the weapon out of his hand.
Okay. That would be, I would say, roll plus daring, and he gets an opposed roll.
Okay. 8 plus 1 is 9.
9. It's even, so he manages to keep his grip mostly, but he still, he does manage to keep his grip on that. But he is in a compromised position.
Finish
The
him,
rogue
Greta.
figure can't get out, so he's compromised position. It can just have 1 condition, and if he has enough, he's out for the count. So, and he is going to, because he gets to apply 1 in response. This is how it goes. Even if you roll 10 plus, he gets to apply 1. But you get to apply 1 if he tries something on you. So
Okay.
he is going to try, and he's going to whisper in your ear, very quietly, so only you can hear. You are a terrible priest of Osprey. You bring disgrace to him, and he gets a string on you. Because he knows exactly where to drive the knife. You realize he knows exactly where to drive the knife.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna complete one of my 4 trials and kiss someone dangerous.
You're
Give
gonna.
him a smooch.
Oh, you're gonna. Okay. You know what? Sure. I think there's a whole a thingy that gives you bonuses if you complete that. If let's see, what happens if you complete your trials? I wasn't even thinking that, but 'cause that's more of a long-term thing.
I figure we got 34 minutes left. Let me make this happen.
Sure. You're like, oh, you want to mess with me, and then you do that. Yeah. It's more of a it doesn't actually give you any mechanical advantage, but you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's the story that counts.
Yeah, that's the kind of the whole
I
vibe of the
grappled
game.
Aiken to the ground and gave him a big wet kiss.
Yeah, and he and you just are like grin like wolfishly, and I'm imagining and just to throw him off, and he just does not know what to do with that, and is he is definitely yes. And he gets a negative because of a condition, so I would say
I would say you have to roll to see if you like it.
Insecure. I would say he's definitely insecure. He's like, he has no idea what to do about this. Like, he is like, suddenly like, did I screw up? Did I misjudge? Like, he's definitely not feeling good, which actually throws off his possible plan. But you know what? It's okay.
All right, girls, come back in here and kick butt.
All right. Okay. So he is. Yeah. So one of you. Excuse me. You get to. Go.
So, I think that Greta can handle the other fellow.
Sure.
Is there a clear path for Phoenix to get into or through the doorway?
Probably. I would think. I mean, you could actually if you wanted. No, there is. That would be a defy disaster roll, as opposed to a fight. But yes, if you want to run through.
I want to try to do that.
Okay.
To keep for a couple of reasons, but so they can't close the door on us.
That's
and maybe if there's prisoners right on the other side, I would know that, and so we're kind of cutting them off.
Yes. So if you are using brute strength, go for plus daring. If you're trying to just jump it, you can use plus grace. Yeah, it's not through charm or metaphysical skill.
All
it's
right.
physical.
Either one is going to give me a +1. So
yeah.
Okay, so with the bonus, that's a 5.
Less than 6. So yeah, you trip and kind of fall back and
damn evening gowns.
Yes. So and since he hasn't gone yet and he's going to use his action to fight. So he is going to roll a plus grace against you. Yeah, that is gonna fail. Yeah, no, that's gonna fail. Even with an extra, yeah, no, he's got some grace on him, but not enough with that roll. So he's gonna swipe at you and miss. But you see him pull a knife.
That's the hooded one.
The hooded one is gonna pull a knife and try to stab Phoenix.
Also named Greta.
Yes. So yeah, Greta, I would say yeah. You and then it could get to last move.
So there's two more. I'm just trying to get.
Just for just these two. So there's Iken, who is kind of pinned by Almi, and there might be kissing. You're not sure what the deal with that is. There's this robed figure who got knocked down, and he's in a weird position, so you would get a +1 against him, but a situational +1 because Almi did really well on her roll, but also and just attacked Phoenix. So yeah.
Okay, the one that just attacked Phoenix, I'm gonna swing at.
Okay, you got a +1 against him. So if you're gonna go for fight, roll the plus. I think daring is your best stat, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's a +2.
Yeah, go for it. So you're at a +3 on 2d6, and you're looking for ideally a 10 or better. If you get 7.
That's an 11 total.
Okay, yep.
Boom.
That's a 10 plus. That means you get. Let's see. Fight is someone with violence. So yeah, that means you get to choose 3. You can inflict 1 condition, which is their kind of hit point tracker, and yeah, you can choose 1, and then you get to so you can then get 2 others. You can try to mess with him mentally and gain a string. You can create an opportunity for an ally, give someone a +1 on him. So yeah, or you can try to take try to take his whatever weapon or something from him. He has his pin, he has also a holy symbol on his neck. That might throw him off. A belt pouch he has, and you could try to take one of those.
So I could see his holy symbol?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try and remove that.
Yeah. You yank, and the chain breaks, and now you're holding a holy symbol of the god Norbello, I believe. Norbio. Yes.
Oh, I don't hold it. I yank it off and I throw it.
Oh, you're gonna throw it. Okay. Yeah, you
Yep.
throw his holy symbol off into the distance.
Yeah, if that's something he wants, he's got to go fetch it then.
Oh, I see. Plan. Okay, so you can do that, and you can also either provoke him, because you rolled so well, you can either provoke him into mess with him mentally, or you can and gain a string that you can use to, later if he lives, or you can create an opening for someone else.
What's the most effective thing to do to like incapacitate the guy?
That would be you have to basically inflict enough conditions, and you can only inflict one per fight. So
Right.
you could offer up, try to jam him in a better position. So Phoenix gets a bonus on her plus fight, but that would be the most thing you could do. I would say that was effective use, but you can try something else if you want.
Well, I thought taking the object was
one of them, and then you create an opening for your opponent. So you inflicted a condition. You
okay.
Yeah, you inflicted. You inflicted a condition. You took an object. So you can either create an opportunity for an ally, or flirt, or provoke him and gain a string on him, like mess with him mentally.
I create an opportunity for Phoenix. And then
Yeah,
Phoenix
I think
could whack him.
that would be the best thing, is for me to create an opportunity for
All right, so
an
it's
opponent.
his roll. He gets the last. No, it's the Ikken's actually. Ikken gets the last one. He is going to try a fight against Alni, because he, I think, right. So he's not going to try anything like that. He might have tried to mess with you, but he's not going to do that now. He's going to do a basic. That's a 7, 8. So he only gets 2, and he's going to inflict a condition. He's going to shove you back, break your nose, and he is going to you're not actually holding a weapon, so he's going to try and shove you through the door to try to get a better. He's going to try to shove you around so that you're farther from the door and he's closer to it. So he does that, but you get to choose one to apply to him in response. So you can inflict a condition, and or reassert the positioning, or try to get someone else a +1.
Okay, so I'm going to try to overpower him or trip him, knock him down, push him back, whatever makes the most sense given the kind of grapple we're in.
All right, you're gonna try to mess with him. Yeah. You can. Where do you want to put him?
I'd like to knock him down on the ground if I could.
Yeah, pin him. Yeah, you can pin him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
that
so
would be a.
make a roll.
I would say.
No?
Yeah, I would say roll a plus daring.
Okay, plus daring, fun daring. Okay. Here's an 8, 9.
9. Okay. He does manage to resist it mostly, but you still manage to knock him back around close to the door. But you can't pin him properly because he rolled
Okay.
boxcars, and if it's a composed roll, Yeah, so he's not pinned. But back is Phoenix again. So you've got.
Okay.
You can try to go past again. You can try to stab this guy. Move to try to stab Iken, but you do have a bonus if you want to try and stab him. I would say you could also get a bonus if you wanted to get past him.
Yeah, I want to get past him.
Okay, you can roll plus Grace, and because Greta set it up to make it harder for him to do stuff, you also get a +1.
So that would be 8.
8. Okay, yeah, you can get past. You can't get fully past. He does grab your ankle, so you stumble through. But despite Greta's best attempts, but because she's holding him at a weird angle, he can't really get a proper grip. So you do manage to get through, but you can't go that far. You just barely get through.
Okay.
But you're past.
But I'm in the doorway.
Yes, you're in the doorway.
Okay.
Past these two guys.
Great.
Okay. Then, okay. So as that happens, Phoenix, and then we had Almi, and then we had Almi. So it's your move.
Almi,
Yeah, Almi.
I'm gonna bat him in the head with my quarterstaff.
Okay. Do you have your quarterstaff with you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming I did because I'm a priest, and so it wouldn't be weird for a priest to be
true.
walking around.
Yeah, it would be a symbol
if
of
folks are
office.
walking around with swords strapped to the
Yeah, no, a sword would be weird, but a staff you could kind of
yeah.
Hey,
Mix.
it was hidden properly.
yeah.
That's right.
So
In this crazy world of D&D, right?
Yes.
Folks run around armed to the teeth.
yeah.
Very good. Yes. So quarterstaff
dinner
to the
party.
side of the head. Boom.
All right, boom. Roll a plus Grace or plus Daring, whichever's higher.
Hearing is higher, so we're going. Woohoo! 10, 11.
Oh, that's a unqualified success. So you get to pick. You get an inflicted condition, probably a physical one. That brings him up to 2. And I would, because he wasn't much of a fight. He doesn't have a lot of actual prowess in terms of staying power. So yeah, you knock him out.
All right. Bingo.
Yeah, he's kind of.
Yay.
Yeah, he's still a little dazed, and he still is reeling from the kiss. So you can hit him again, and really knock him, and maybe try to kill him, or you can just leave him like barely conscious, lying on the ground.
I don't necessarily want to kill him because we want to be able to question him afterwards. So,
You want to knock him like properly unconscious?
knock him unconscious. Yes.
All right, yeah, I'll allow that because you got a +10. Yeah, you get him. He's
Dang.
down for the count, but you kind of adjust him and make sure he's sitting up so he doesn't choke and kind of
Right.
keep him from choking or passing, anything like that. So yeah, you set him up to keep him from choking, and he's still breathing. So you're,
Okay.
yeah. So he's out, and that's, I guess, your move. So you went, yeah, we had Phoenix and Almi both, he's out for the count. That would be, the, robed figure, and then Greta, he is going to try, he's going to try a fight against you. He's going to try and stab you.
All right.
That's a 10. So he gets dagger. Let's see. He gets to pull some fight. So he's gonna inflict a condition. You can choose. You get to choose the condition. You can choose a physical of hobbled, or you can choose one of the emotional ones. That give you all sorts of negative penalties for that and are harder to heal because of how healing works. You have to have a gracious heart to heart, and yeah. Yeah. If it's one of the emotional ones, you probably have to justify it, but I would say you could probably pick angry or frightened. or maybe you could make a case for maybe insecure, hopeless, but or just take the hobbled and have physical damage. The only problem is if you take 3, you can only have 5 altogether, and you can only avoid taking physical twice during the combat. And if you get 4th physical, you are basically dying. If that makes sense. So
I'm trying to see where these conditions are.
they're at the top of your cheat sheet. At the very top of the cheat sheet.
Okay, so I can
Conditions:
do
angry, frightened, guilty, hopeless, insecure, and then hobbled, battered, and last legs, which go in order. So they're the physical ones. Because you can only take the emotional ones so many times before.
Oh no, that's gonna make me angry if he stabs me.
Okay. Yeah, and if you want to have any, like, try to figure any kind of insight or anything, you're at a -2. Okay. So you have 1. If you get 5 in any combination, you are down for the count. So keep that in mind. And that's his. So he inflicts a condition. He gets to, what else? He is gonna call out, "They're coming," which means that if there's someone else down there, they now know you're coming. And he's gonna try and shove you, kind of try and pull himself out of your grip. So you're gonna roll a contested.
Good luck shoving Greta.
I mean, yeah, you get to roll a
It's like pushing on
contested plus
a
daring.
house.
Yeah, you roll a contested plus daring. Ooh. You know,
So what? So I roll.
2d6 plus 2. Yes.
And that is 10.
Just higher than him. You yeah. So he doesn't manage to get anything with that, but he does take the chance on it. So that's his goal. He's got 2 conditions so far. You get to pick one in return from the fights. You can inflict a condition, or try to steal something from him, or you only get one of them. But try to mess with him emotionally, or try to get a 1-up for either Almi, or create an opportunity.
So this is one where I could take another object from.
Yeah,
an opponent?
you could steal something else from him if you wanted. In condition.
Can I just knock the dagger out of his hand that
Yeah.
he stabbed me with? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
you
what
can absolutely do that. You'd have to roll roll a plus daring. Because trying to take the weapons does create require a contested roll.
That's 4. Now in a second, I knocked the die down on the floor. So
Drop the dice.
okay, so that's a total of 8.
That's higher than he had. So yes, you managed to get the dagger out of his hand. Which, if he tries to fight again, will have to be a contingency. So, and makes it harder for him. So, that's knocked out. That's him, and then him, and then... Alright, so, Almi, what's your move? You got knocked out. There's this mysterious robed guy Greta's trying to fight with.
So quarterstaff in hand, I take a swing and try to knock him out of commission.
Okay. Roll a fight.
Okay. And I got 8.
Okay. So you get to inflict a condition. I'm guessing you want to inflict a physical harm.
Yes.
Okay. And then you get to do something else too. Take something. If it's his weapon, you have to roll a contested check. But if you want to just use his belt pouch, you can do that. Try to give Greta advantage.
His dagger's already on the ground, right? So
yes, he's already on the ground. So you could hypothetically grab it and throw it.
Can I shove him back or push him over a table or
you can
trip over
you kind of are in the doorway, but yes, you could shove him back if you wanted to try for that. Yeah, You could
Yeah, so-
easily kind of between you and Greta, you can absolutely shove him back a bit.
Yeah,
In
so
through the
I
doorway.
guess what I'm wanting to like shove him so that he's at a disadvantage.
Yes,
or
that would give
Phoenix
it would give
at-
Greta a
at
+1
an
on the fight
advantage.
if you kind
There you
of aided her
Let's do
in
that.
shoving him around. Yeah.
Yeah, shove
So
him
that-
around, get him off balance. Let's do
Yep.
that.
And since it was less than a 10, you only get 2, and he gets 1. He's going to, he's going to bite your wrist.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Ow.
so you take 1 condition. Either take hobbled or one of the emotional ones, because you still have 2. If you can only take 2 from physical violence, but yeah.
Rabid scarlet dog.
All right. Okay. So which particular condition? Because they do different things in terms of giving you negative penalties.
Um,
You can take hobbled, or you can take one of the emotional ones.
I'm gonna do angry because
Okay.
having this dog bite me.
Yeah. It's sensible. Okay, so we got that going. That's your turn. Then you got a you took the dagger as part of your reactive to him, so you do get a turn.
That's Almy has a turn, or Greta has a turn.
Greta has a turn. Almi just took her turn,
Okay.
and he got that bite in
What
response.
about Phoenix?
Phoenix
Yeah,
also
what about-
gets a turn. Yeah. But
Get him, Phoenix.
go for it. Okay, so you run down, and there's a set of stairs. And I'm guessing you're heading down the stairs?
So this is what I see on the other side
Yes,
of the door.
other
Is
side
a
of the
set
door,
stairs going
there's
down?
a little bit of a hallway and then a set of stairs going down. No doors.
Okay. And is it lit?
There is some sort of light at the very bottom, so it's kind of dark, but there's enough light you can kind of sort of see.
Yeah, I'm confident that my companions can take care of those two. And I say, follow me when you can, and I go down the stairs.
Okay. Head down the stairs, and you see
Four figures standing there waiting for you.
no,
That's all right. I have a plan.
well, I'll give you a peek behind the game screen later, but no, you find one priest there, and actually, not even a priest. You can tell he's kind of like a apprentice of some sort, standing there, and looks quite young. Probably not finished growing yet, although it's hard to tell with his cowl up. And he's standing there, kind of clutching a dagger, and the way he's holding it, like this kid is not particularly well trained in anything. And behind him are tied up to a kind of tied both together, hand and foot to a bed, is Theron and Oramil.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would
Can I
say,
react, or are we going to wait for
I would say he would get a turn. I would say roll a plus grace.
Okay.
And if you get high enough, I'll let you have an attack on him. Fight.
well, I'm not going to attack.
You're not going to attack.
Oh, I got 12.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah. So
so
you
13.
basically are fast enough in the running. You crash down the stairs, so you're going fast, which means you get to do full turn, whatever you want to do. And he's stuck without it for next round because you're just going so fast. He is not prepared for this.
Take him down.
So I see the situation, and I yell out in an as intimidating and authoritative voice as I can, which comes naturally to me having been raised that way.
Yes.
I am Phoenix Norbellos, heir to the Despotrix. You will drop that dagger right now.
Okay. I would say go for I would say plus heart. Yeah, physical or emotional sensibilities, and fear is definitely an emotional sensibility.
Oh, I don't. Okay, so no. All right. 7.
So you either you don't get the string to mess with the kid later. I would say he's probably going to promise something they think you want. So he's going to do what you want, which is drop the knife. Yeah, he's going to drop the knife, essentially. Okay. That's his, he's going to drop the knife. He's going to drop the knife, and that's your move. And if he wants to do anything after that, he's going to have to figure something else out, because you rolled so high, he doesn't get actually, he is going to try a Defy Disaster roll with plus grace. She's got a pretty decent. That's a 10. He is going to drop the knife and bolt past you. He's just going to go. He's going to run. That's Defy Disaster. He does not want any part of this. He is going to just bolt right up the steps.
And I don't have any chance to trip him or anything like that?
No, because you basically used your move to stop him, and you didn't. You used the entice, and you didn't roll a plus 10. So yeah, but he's bolting. He will have some problems getting past Greta and Almi, but yeah. So that's your play. Okay, you went Almi. You did you get a move?
Yes. So at this point, am I seeing the young priestling come up the steps?
Yeah, I would say you see him come up.
All right, I'm gonna like, intercept him, crash into him, hit him. I guess I'll take a swing at him with the quarterstaff as he comes up to like whack him as he's like rushing up the steps.
Yeah, I would say that would be a fight because you're trying to incapacitate him.
All right.
Even if you're Yeah,
fair enough.
You are using violence to physicality to try to stop him, so yeah, it would be a fight.
Give him a headache here. So let's see what we got. 9 plus, and this is daring.
Yes.
Okay, so 10.
Okay, 10 plus. So you get to try 3. You can give him a condition. You can freak him out. You can provoke your opponent. Yeah, you can freak him out. You can try to create an ally for like knock him into the other guy to give Greta advantage, or you can steal something from him.
Can I knock him back down the steps to interact with Phoenix again?
I would say yes.
Euphemistically.
Yeah, you can do that and impose a condition if you want. Actually, you can also do that and impose a condition and give Phoenix advantage.
Great.
Because that's 3.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Okay, so he just stumbles back down the stairs. His daring is minus. At a -1, yes. So he stumbles back down the stairs, and
finish him, Phoenix.
He's going back down the stairs. So that's your move, Greta. You got a move.
Okay, this guy's still conscious.
Yes, he is very tougher than any others.
Finish him, Greta.
Yeah.
I think Greta's on an advantage.
I
this time,
smother
right?
him.
Okay, roll a fight.
I feel like having
I lay on top of him
on top of you.
Wow. Well, roll a plus fight. Go for it. Plus daring.
Okay, so that is a 12. Wow.
Oh, yeah, no, he's out.
Bingo.
He's out. If you want him dead, he's dead. If you don't want him dead, he can be unconscious, or you can just
I don't think we want him unconscious or dead, do we?
We want to hang on
angry.
To
I don't know. I'm angry. He stabbed me.
You can roll a self-control if you want to do that, or you can just kill him. Your call.
No, I smother him.
All right.
I don't kill him. I just smother him.
Okay, you smother him until he passes out, and then you ease off before he's really dead. And you check his pulse, and he's still alive, and you're like, yeah, that's good enough.
Tie him up. I tie these two up while
Yeah.
those guys go downstairs.
Yeah, you
Yes.
I'm guessing you pull off the overdress and use it as a temporary rope of some sort.
Well, I use the cloak from the one and tie him up.
Oh, yeah, you can
There you
steal his
go.
ropes from him. He's unconscious, sure, and
right.
use it like rip it up to create ties.
There you
Yeah.
go. Exactly.
Okay. So yeah,
I'll
you have
tie
them
him.
tied up. Felix, what are you doing with this kid who's coming bursting down the stairs, having been shoved? And he has one condition too, hobbled. I'm giving him. So, yeah, he is physically hurt. Because he fell down the stairs. He is terrified of you. He is not in so much a condition, but he's definitely physically hurt. He is down right next to you. What are you gonna do with him?
I'm going to order him to lay on the floor with his arms out.
Roll a entice.
Okay. So I don't know if I get a bonus for that, but I got a natural 9.
Oh yeah, he just lies on the floor. Unquestionably, yeah. I think you got a plus heart, so I think that's a +1 for you.
No, that's a +0.
+0. Still, it's still a qualified success. So yeah, he's just gonna lie down on the floor, and because he's already hurt, he's terrified. He doesn't know what to do, so he's just gonna lie on the floor with his arms out.
Yeah.
I close and bar the door so that we don't have any visitors from outside.
Okay. It is, I would say, point out 1 o'clock, which is our natural ending point. But yeah, you have successfully rescued your
Hooray!
team. You got Theron out.
Excellent.
You got
Good job, ladies.
yeah, you got Ormel out. You saved them both. You pretty much have him at your mercy. You now have proof that he, at the very least, did kidnap 2 nobles. Well, a noble and someone in the employ of a noble. Still, Theron does have enough noble standing that kidnapping him on and of itself is high crime. So that's good. You have proof. He committed a high crime.
Well, yeah, we got 2
Caught
guys
him red-handed.
so.
Yeah, you caught him red-handed. Yeah. So he's gonna at least be arrested. This other guy's definitely gonna be arrested. The kid, you can show mercy if you want. He's young. You kind of pull the cowl off. He's maybe 15. Definitely Suloy's, but young. And so how you want to treat him is up to you.
I'd say we hand them all over to the ruler.
All right. Yeah, you go and you
Matrix.
kind of get them up into the carriage and just bring them back to the Spotrix.
Lee, I have to bow out. I've got
Yes.
a 1 o'clock game, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured it was. But yeah, if you guys want to put in chat any where they can reach you, any things you want to pitch, is there any, things you're up to, like art, if you are an artist, want to pitch commissions, if you have a stream, for example, you want to pitch, podcast, anything like that?
All good.
I have a blog that I occasionally blog to called Hidden in Shadows, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay, Hidden in Shadows. Cool, check it out, everyone.
Super.
Cool, Biggie, do you want to pitch
Thank
anything?
you.
There, I put my
Twitch.
Twitch, my Twitch on. I try to stream every Saturday night around 6 Central Time with Lee as one of my players in
Yeah.
the Castles and Crusades game. It's my own homebrew game, so
Yeah.
the world is all mine. So
It's pretty interesting so far. And
Sieglin, that you guys see in the
chat
Twitch
is
chat, he's another one of the players that plays
Yes.
on Saturdays with me. So
yeah. And Don, you want to pitch anything?
I'm good. I'm new to this whole world of online gaming, so this has been fun. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we are gonna raid another one of the virtual Greyhawk streams. Which one we're gonna raid? Let's see.
Pro Lord Games is on with Chuck.
Oh, so it is. All right, raiding them seems like a good plan. Stick around, everyone. Go see Chuck and how awesome his stream is. Take care of yourselves. I have been Lee. I do stream a lot of fun stuff. I would suggest following me. But I am, of course, biased.
Very good. Thanks so much, Lee.
Yep.
Take care.
Okay.
Thanks
Take
again.
care,
Goodbye,
everyone. Let's go on the raid. Troll Lord. Here we go, everyone. Okay, we got 9, 8, 7. It has to load to the thing. And then we'll raid, and then I'll stop streaming, and then... Alright. Final goodbyes, and off we go. Alright, we're